Chapter 948. A great battle between uncle and nephew was about to break out. Yin Wudi's eyes narrowed, and he waved the heaven-mending sword in his hand. Boom! The entire world was filled with an endless storm of sword chi, covering the sky and the sun. For a moment, killing intent shot out in all directions, closing in on Yin Chuan. As soon as the sword chi storm appeared, many of the ministers of Great Zhun revealed looks of shock. Feng Yinyang's face darkened as he waved his hand. Who? Countless arrays were quickly formed around Yin Jin. Clouds rose from all directions, forming a giant array shield that enveloped Yin Jin to prevent the people from being affected. Boom! Endless sword chi madly pierced towards Yin Chuan. At the same time, Yin Wudi also suddenly made his move. As soon as he attacked, the heaven-mending sword turned into a huge sword aura and slashed at Yin Chuan's shunting acupoint. Yin Chuan smiled faintly and pulled the Jade Emperor sword up. Ding! The Jade Emperor's sword energy collided with the heaven-mending sword, and the heaven-mending sword was knocked back. Yin Chuan's surroundings abruptly erupted with boundless sword energy, forming a storm of sword energy. Yin Wudi's storm of sword energy spun clockwise towards Yin Chuan, while Yin Chuan's storm of sword energy spun counterclockwise towards the sword energy outside. Rumble! As the swords clashed, the sky was filled with the thunderous sounds of swords clashing. Yin Wudi's heaven-mending sword slashed down again. Ding 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 ding. The heaven-mending sword directly pierced through the two sword chi storms and crazily slashed at Yin Chuan. His speed was extremely fast, faster and faster. Ding 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 ding. Soon, the trajectory of the heaven-mending sword could no longer be seen. One astral sword after another appeared, seemingly forming a river of swords. The river surged towards Yin Chuan. His speed was too fast. In an instant, he sent out tens of thousands of sword lights. Yin Wudi's face became ferocious, and his sword became faster and faster. Similarly, Yin Chuan's sword was also astonishingly fast. The Jade Emperor's sword cleverly struck the heaven-mending sword each time. The two of them exchanged attacks. Their arms could no longer be seen clearly. They were too fast, so fast that it was as if they had merged into the void. There were also countless sword cultivators among the common people in Yinjin. However, when countless sword cultivators looked at the two people in the sky, all of them felt ashamed of their inferiority. Not to mention the strength. Just the speed of the sword was shocking. Only the expressions of the Dugu family's disciples didn't change. That was because all of the Dugu family's disciples were capable of transforming their swords into rivers. Is that all? Yin Chuan asked in a deep voice. Yin Wudi's expression was ferocious. Suddenly, Yin Wudi's figure blurred and then condensed again. The sword river in his hand remained unchanged, as if nothing had changed. How could that be? Another Yin Wudi? A Yin clan's relative exclaimed. Originally, Yin Wudi was standing to the south of Yin Chuan. However, Yin Chuan's figure suddenly appeared to the north of Yin Wudi. Yin Wudi's expression turned serious. Suddenly, he slashed Yin Chuan from behind Yin Chuan. It was as if there were two Yin Wudi attacking Yin Chuan from both sides. Boom! Yin Chuan seemed to have eyes on the back of his head. He suddenly stabbed his sword into the back. Ding, 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 ding. The Yin Wudi from the north was the same as the one from the south. His sword was shockingly fast as it slashed towards Yin Chuan. However, Yin Chuan was still calm. He swung his sword again and again, continuously repelling the sword light in front of him and behind him. Has His Majesty's sword slowed down? Lu Gang frowned. No, His Majesty's sword is faster. It's just so fast that you can't see it. Hua Guang shook his head. Chapter 949. In the sky, two Yin Wudi fought against Yin Chuan, but Yin Chuan was still calm. Sword doppelganger? Not bad. Yin Chuan smiled slightly. Oomph. Yin Wudi snorted coldly. Whoosh! Suddenly, one Yin Wudi appeared to the east and the west of Yin Chuan. Four Yin Wudi besieged Yin Chuan, slashing at Yin Chuan from all directions. At this moment, In everyone's eyes, Yin Chuan's sword became even slower. He slowly swung his sword to the south, repelling all the sword rivers in the south. He slowly swung his sword to the north, repelling all the sword rivers in the north. He slowly and unceasingly repelled Yin Wudi's endless attacks. What sword technique is this? Yin Wudi asked in surprise. Sword 22 of the 24 moves of sword. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Sword 22? Yin Wudi's face became more and more ruthless. Whoosh! More and more Yin Wudi appeared. In an instant, 9 Yin Wudi appeared in the storm of sword chi. They attacked Yin Chuan from 9 different directions at an extremely terrifying speed, slashing at him with sword after sword. At this moment, the disciples of the Dugu family also gradually became serious. That was because the disciples of the Dugu family were finally able to see that Yin Chuan's sword Dao was extremely frightening. Sword 23. Yin Chuan shouted softly. Boom! Yin Chuan swung his sword, and the Jade Emperor's sword left behind afterimages. These afterimages did not disappear, but slashed at the heaven-mending sword, and erupted with a force that suppressed the heaven-mending sword. Streaks of heaven-mending sword energy were counterattacked. For a moment, the battlefield between Yin Chuan and Yin Wudi seemed to have turned into a huge lotus. The lotus had 4 layers. The first layer was Yin Wudi's sword chi storm. The second layer was Yin Chuan's sword chi storm. The third layer was endless heaven-mending sword, and the fourth layer was endless Jade Emperor's sword. A huge sword lotus bloomed in the sky above Yin capital. Countless sword cultivators looked at the sword light that filled the sky. For a moment, a large number of sword cultivators seemed to have an epiphany as they felt the aura of the endless divine sword. Yin Wudi slashed again and again, and Yin Chuan easily dealt with it. Yin Wudi's face showed a trace of anxiety. Roar! The 9 Yin Wudi suddenly roared. Suddenly, Yin Wudi's hair turned blood red, and an endless mist of blood surrounded him. Blood demon! Countless cultivators exclaimed in shock. The same as His Majesty, a courtier cried out. On the other hand, the Yin clan's relatives widened their eyes in shock. How can this be? Isn't the blood demon only His Majesty and his son have it? Yin Wudi has it too? Could it be the bloodline inheritance of the Yin clan? Suddenly, a Yin clan relative came to a realization. At the same time, the Yin clan relatives' hearts trembled. If Yin Wudi could do it, then they could do it too. In the sky, Yin Wudi turned into a blood demon, and his body emitted an extremely evil aura. Ha ha, Yin Chuan die! Yin Wudi shouted excitedly. Whoosh! The sword light that Yin Wudi unleashed once again turned blood red. Furthermore, the power of each sword light was more than 10 times greater, and the speed was also more than 10 times faster. In an instant, the blood river rushed down from all directions, rushing towards Yin Chuan from 9 different directions. It added a glamorous glow to the peerless lotus. Yin Chuan waved his sword and suddenly became a little embarrassed. Yin Chuan didn't use any super skills or other means. He still fought sword against sword. 9 blood seas surged over, bringing with them the power to destroy the world, suppressing Yin Chuan to the point where he was momentarily flustered. Chapter 950. You're indeed born with a sword bone. Yin Chuan smiled excitedly. 24 swords. Yin Chuan shouted. Buzz! With Yin Chuan as the center, a sword chime spread in all directions. As soon as the sword chime was heard, the surrounding sword chi, sword aura, and sword aura rose. Buzz! Buzz! The swords of countless sword cultivators around Yin Jin also vibrated, as if they were echoing the sound of Yin Chuan's Jade Emperor sword. Almost all the swords in the entire Yin Jin vibrated. Even the swords of the disciples of the Dugu family also vibrated. Impossible. The Emperor's sword chime is enough to make all the swords bow to it. Only the old master can do that. How can Yin Chuan do it? A disciple of the Dugu family exclaimed. The disciples of the Dugu family also exclaimed. High up in the sky, the blooming sword lotus violently trembled at this moment. The first layer of sword qi collapsed with a bang. The second layer of Yin Chuan's sword qi also collapsed. 8 of the 9 sword rivers on the third layer suddenly vibrated and collapsed. Only one of them was still struggling. At the same time, the Jade Emperor sword also clashed with that one. Boom! The Jade Emperor sword and the Heaven Mending sword clashed, creating a storm in the sky. The clouds in a 10,000-mile radius were blown away. Yin Wudi's body was sent flying like a shooting star, crashing into a mountain peak in the distance. Boom! The mountain peak exploded with a loud bang. Yin Wudi's body fell into the broken mountain. Yin Chuan stepped forward. Family Master! The disciples of the Dugu family immediately rushed over. Whoosh! Bai Ditian, Jin Diyu, and Huaguang immediately stood in front of them. Get out of the way! The disciples of the Dugu family exclaimed. However, Bai Ditian, Jin Diyu, and Huaguang didn't give way at all. Rumble! Everyone started fighting again. In the ruins, Yin Chuan looked at Yin Wudi, who was lying on the ground. Yin Wudi's blood-red hair had already disappeared as he withdrew his super divine ability. Looking at Yin Chuan, Yin Wudi's eyes were red, and sorrow was brewing in his eyes. Wudi, you're the most talented swordsman I've ever seen. Although you lost, it's only because of me. You're only at the lower void realm. Even if you use your super divine ability to push your strength to the middle void realm, you still can't compare to me in terms of experience. At the same level of swordsmanship, no one is your opponent. You even forced me to use the 24 moves of sword. You've inherited Dugu Butian's legacy, so you'll have limitless potential in the future. Don't think about the past anymore. Looking at Yin Chuan, Yin Wudi felt a lump in his throat. It was like a child getting scolded by an adult for doing something wrong. Go and burn some incense for Yin Xiuyu. Yin Chuan sighed softly. Yin Chuan turned and walked away. However, Lu Jin flew over. Yin Wudi, this is the letter that Yin Xiuyu asked His Majesty to leave for you. His Majesty asked me to give it to you. Lu Jin handed over Yin Xiuyu's will before she died. Looking at the unopened letter, Yin Wudi felt a lump in his throat. At the same time, his eyes became moist. Father, I'm unfilial. Yin Wudi gently took Yin Xiuyu's will. Yin Xiuyu asked Yin Chuan to pass the letter to her son so that Yin Chuan could read the contents. She didn't want her son to take revenge. She hoped that Yin Chuan could give her son a path. How could Yin Chuan not understand? However, Yin Chuan still didn't open the letter. After taking the letter, Yin Wudi wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes. Then, he flew towards Yin Xiuyu's grave. Chapter 9:51. At Yin Xiuyu's grave, Yin Wudi brought his younger siblings to offer incense to Yin Xiuyu. A few members of the Yin clan had also arrived. Of course, there were only a few of them. 50 years had passed, and Yin Xiuyu's death had gradually faded from everyone's minds. Yin Wudi visited the grave, and everyone tried to persuade him. The Dugu clan members stood not far away, waiting. His younger siblings were still a little sad. Yin Wudi then took out the letter. The words "to my son Wudi" were written on it. With a heavy heart, Yin Wudi tore open the envelope and began to read. It was Yin Xiuyu's handwriting. Back then, Yin Xiuyu had given Yin Wudi a secret signal that she would put more emphasis on the fifth and last word of her letters. The letter in front of him was obviously written by Yin Xiuyu herself. My son, I have made a bad decision. I may die for it, but I have no regrets. If I fail, please do not resent Yin Chuan. It has nothing to do with him. If I die, I have only myself to blame. But in my heart, I really want to give it my all, even if my bones are crushed. This is my will as a father, and I will not regret it even if I die 10,000 times. I also understand that Yin Chuan treats the Yin clan extremely well, even better than I did back then. I can see that the Yin clan's glory is coming. It is in you, in Yin Chuan. Do not resent Yin Chuan. The Yin clan can only achieve glory by concentrating. I'm not as good as Yin Chuan. Although you are born with the sword bone, I can see that your achievements are at most that you can become the leader of a sect, no matter how strong it is. As an emperor, you cannot be stronger than Yin Chuan. Take good care of your younger brother and sister. Father can't protect you anymore. I know that you will definitely resent Yin Chuan, but don't. If you want to resent someone, resent the Thousand Buddha Holy Ground and the Great Buddha Imperial Dynasty. I no longer had the ambition to become an emperor back then, but those bastards kept on egging me on. I understood that if I didn't agree, I would have died then and there. My little ambition was forced to inflate by them. If I succeed, you won't be able to see this letter. If I die, it means that the 10,000 Buddha Holy Ground and the Great Buddha Imperial Dynasty forced me to do so. They're the ones who killed me. My son, I can see that Yin Chuan values you a lot. Do your best to assist Yin Chuan. Even if I die, it's enough that you're alive. That's enough. Looking at the letter, Yin Wudi's eyes teared up again. Thousand Buddha Holy Grounds, Great Buddha Empire. Yin Wudi roared in anger. Big brother, what did father say? The younger siblings asked in tears. Yin Wudi passed the letter to his brothers and sisters. Everyone looked at it. I know. Kong Mok, Kong Mok. The younger brother's eyes were filled with hatred. 7 days later, Lu Gang led Yin Wudi to the prison. Yin Wudi was wrapped in a black robe. His face couldn't be seen. In the prison, there was a huge prison cell. A group of black-robed men sat cross-legged. Although their cultivation was sealed, they had a certain foundation. They hadn't eaten or drunk for decades, but they were still alive. Lu Gang, don't you know that we are from the Thousand Buddha Holy Ground? We are loyal to Emperor Mo Ku and have imprisoned us for more than 50 years. We can let bygones be bygones. If you don't let us go now, when Emperor Mo Ku arrives, you will all die. A black-robed man said coldly. Marquis Yin, this is the group. His Majesty said that you can deal with them. Lu Gang said solemnly. Chapter 952. After saying that, Lu Gang left the heavenly prison, leaving Yin Wudi alone. Marquis Yin? Yin Xiuyu? You're not dead yet? A black-robed man asked in surprise. How's that possible? Yin Xiuyu, quickly take us away. I'll fulfill my promise to you in the future. As long as you find Emperor Mo Ku, he'll give you everything. Yin Xiuyu, do you still remember the taste of the bone-melting poison powder? It's only 100 years. You should remember that once 100 years is up, you'll once again experience the feeling of begging for death. Quickly take us out. Everyone shouted. Yin Wudi held the hilt of the heaven-mending sword in his hand. His entire body seemed to be trembling. A wave of killing intent filled the heavenly prison. The harvest of 10,000 years. Everyone was constantly absorbing and fusing these countless memories and comprehensions. At the same time, spirit stones were madly provided to everyone. In a volcano near Yanjing, Jin Diyu sat cross-legged in the depths of the magma with a huge bell in front of him. Clang! The huge bell trembled slightly, and the magma in the entire volcano boiled. What a powerful force. The power of my birth charts has increased by a lot this time. Mohina Dojin? If it's still the Mohina Dojin I fought back then, I can crush you with one hand now, Jin Dayu said excitedly. In front of him, the patterns on the huge bell became clearer. The Celestial Gate? Back then, when the Celestial Gate opened, even a saint would be killed. Unfortunately, you're far inferior to the Celestial Gate. You're not the only Celestial Gate. However, one day, I'll let you reach the height of the Celestial Gate. You're the first Celestial Gate. I named you the Divine Emperor Bell in the name of my ancestor, Jin Dayu said solemnly. Clang! The huge bell trembled violently, and the entire sea of magma seemed to be churning. Outside Yanjing, in the east, there was an inland sea. Countless cultivators had been moved away from all directions. On the shore of the sea, Yin Chuan stood on a reef with his mouth open to the sky. In the sky, rolling tribulation clouds churned endlessly. In the tribulation clouds, lightning-like dragons were constantly churning. However, at this moment, the churning dragons seemed to have a look of fear on their faces. A huge force in Yin Chuan's mouth was crazily pulling the tribulation clouds in the sky. Not far away stood Purplish and Meow Meow. Meow, he's going to devour the tribulation clouds again. Yin Chuan had reached the upper void stage so quickly. What a freak! Meow meow exclaimed. Zizi smiled and said, Aren't you the same? Don't go transcend the tribulation. Many people will be deceived by you. Meow, I'm gifted. How can I be the same as Yin Chuan? Meow meow cried. 69 Heavenly Tribulations. Yin Chuan has also ascended to the emptiness realm. Zizi's eyes flashed with a hint of happiness. Rumble. Layers of tribulation clouds were quickly swallowed by Yin Chuan. Within the 6 in 9 Heavenly Tribulation, the countless lightning dragons that were originally there were now helplessly swallowed into Yin Chuan's stomach. Rumble. The tribulation clouds were completely absorbed by Yin Chuan. The sky was cloudless in an instant, as if the tribulation didn't happen at all. Meow, let's go. Meow shouted. Wait. Purple shook its head. In the distance, Yin Chuan sat cross-legged. He turned his hand, and a large number of spiritual stones suddenly appeared around him. Rumble. In the spiritual stones, rolling energy quickly flowed into Yin Chuan's body. Yin Chuan's cultivation was still skyrocketing. Whoosh. Chapter 953. With a gentle breeze, a large number of spirit stones that had their heaven and earth origin energy sucked away were reduced to dust and scattered with the wind. Meow, meow, my spirit stones. What a waste. What a wastrel. Meow cried out in pity. Zizi smiled and rubbed Meow's head. After 10 spirit stone mountains were extracted, Yin Chuan finally stopped. Third level upper void stage. Yin Chuan slowly opened his eyes and looked at the vast sea in front of him. He exhaled softly. Yin Chuan could continue to rise to the next level, but Yin Chuan did not. It was enough for him to reach the third level of the upper void stage. The remaining birth chart power would have to be used to strengthen his current cultivation base. Yin Chuan did not get up. Instead, he looked at the thundercloud in the sky above his Shun Ting meridian. As soon as the thundercloud absorbed the heavenly tribulation, it changed slightly. A faint red color appeared on the cloud. The fourth level of the heaven-devouring Tao scripture. Yin Chuan was overjoyed. The third level of the heaven-devouring Tao scripture, spring lightning, myriad creation. The fourth level? So what? Yin Chuan stood up and looked at ZZ. Vine Demon, protect ZZ and Meow. Yin Chuan shouted. Swoosh. A large number of vines quickly surrounded ZZ. Meow? What's Yin Chuan going to do? Meow asked curiously. In the distance, Yin Chuan looked at his surroundings. Spring lightning. Honk. As the spring lightning rumbled, everything in the surroundings suddenly grew wildly. For a time, the vegetation grew lush. The spring lightning's ability was still there. Yin Chuan pondered for a moment before thunder rumbled again. Honk. The fourth level of the heaven-devouring Tao scripture, heavenly lightning. A loud noise rang in the air. Without warning, the sky where Yin Chuan was standing became scorching hot. A white light in the shape of a big fire swept out in all directions. Everywhere it passed, mist rose into the sky. Whoosh, whoosh. The steam from the sea rose into the sky. The earth was steaming, and the terrifying heat instantly swept through the area. Within 10,000 miles, all the plants and trees on the land had withered, and all the water had dried up. The earth had dried up, and in an instant, the earth had cracked in all directions. The earth and rocks had turned into sand, and the land had turned red for 10,000 miles. The vast sea was instantly sucked dry. Water vapor soared into the sky, and the seabed was completely exposed. Moreover, countless dry cracks appeared on the seabed, and it was completely desertified. Countless fish were struggling and jumping in the desert. The sea had turned into a desert in the blink of an eye. Thousands of miles of land, extremely dry and withered. Meow, meow, what's going on? Meow suddenly cried out. ZZ was slightly stunned. A glint flashed across Yin Chuan's eyes. Xiaolei? With a single shout from Xiaolei, 10,000 li of land will be scarlet? Yin Chuan was surprised. Yin Chuan looked at the rolling dark clouds in the sky, and his eyes narrowed. Huh. Another loud noise came from the thundercloud in the blue sky. Crash. A huge rainstorm poured down like a waterfall from the sky. In the blink of an eye, the dry land was washed away by a large amount of rain. Soon, Yinchuan was submerged in a huge flood. The torrential flood was like a flood dragon, wreaking havoc in all directions. The land was submerged. Although it was still flowing towards the original sea, Yinchuan was not in the mood to care about it at this moment. Spring lightning, all things grow. Xiaolei, chaos appear. If it was someone else, it would not be useful. However, Yinchuan did not think so. Xiaolei, chaos? This was not just a method, but a Tao of heaven and earth. It could let Yinchuan understand the truth of heaven and earth. Chapter 954. A few months later, east of Yin capital, in a mountain forest, thunderclouds churned in the sky. Huaguang's body was shrouded in bloodlust as he withstood bolts after bolts of lightning. In the end, he punched the sky and sent a blood-red energy fist toward the tribulation clouds. Boom! The tribulation clouds shattered with a loud bang. Huaguang took a deep breath and stood on top of a giant rock. He closed his eyes and sensed a breakthrough in his cultivation. Yinchuan, Feng Yinyang, and Lu Jin looked at Huaguang, who was not far away. Huaguang has reached the ethereal realm. Lu Jin exclaimed. Who would have thought that in less than 100 years, Huaguang would actually be able to advance from immortal to the emptiness realm? Huaguang's 200 doppelgangers have been on the battlefield for the past 50 years. That's equivalent to 10,000 years of killing. What a terrifying achievement. Feng Yinyang shook his head and exclaimed, You're not bad yourself. I remember that you've been fighting with Feng Shui masters in the immortal realm. Yinchuan said with a smile, I can only say that I've barely reached my master's level. I'm still slightly lacking compared to those immortal Feng Shui masters. Feng Yinyang said humbly, Immortal? Lu Jin, do you know how to become an immortal? Yinchuan asked. Lu Jin thought for a moment and said, Jin Deyu once told me, Oh, the 9th level of the upper void realm allows one to undergo the heavenly tribulation and become an immortal. There are 12 levels in the upper void realm. The 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th levels allow one to undergo the heavenly tribulation. The higher the cultivation, the stronger the immortal. There are 4 types of immortals: heaven, earth profound, and yellow. Heaven, earth profound, and yellow. Yellow is also called human, and it's the weakest. Lu Jin explained. Yinchuan nodded. Yinchuan added, The reason Bai Ditian didn't quickly undergo the heavenly tribulation and ascend after he recovered his cultivation base from his previous life was because he was only at the 9th level of the upper void realm at that time. He wasn't satisfied with his current cultivation base. If he wanted to become an immortal, he would have to undergo the heavenly tribulation. There aren't many powerhouses in the mortal realm in the mortal realm. Your Majesty, what's Bai Ditian's current cultivation base? 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. You should be at the 10th level of the upper void stage. You should still be a little bit away from the 11th level. At this moment, Dezhun's cultivation base should be the highest. Your Majesty, when will we enter the heavenly mystery dreamland again? Feng Yinyang asked expectantly. Yinchuan shook his head and said, Let's properly comprehend what we've learned in the past few years. The heavenly mystery dreamland isn't omnipotent. It can create a group of powerhouses, but it can't create the strongest. Some strengths need to be accumulated over time. Moreover, if there are too many clones, they'll have different emotions and conflict with each other. What you need to do now is to constantly eliminate these conflicting emotions. Yes, everyone nodded. At the peak of a mountain in the northern divine continent, a group of white-haired old men looked up at the stars in the sky. They seemed to be calculating something with their hands. A white-robed woman stood at the side. She was the woman who looked very much like Yin Chuan's wife in his previous life, Zhenro. She was the heavenly lady of the archaic mysteries sect. Everyone looked up at the sky. A white-haired old man frowned and said, The heavens are dead, and the heavenly Tao has collapsed. Our heavenly mystery art can only calculate a little now. Sigh. Another white-haired old man said worriedly, The collapse of the nether realm is actually the nether realm of the sealed world merging with the nether realm of the celestial realm. However, from this moment onward, the new life of the sealed world will be impure. Chapter 955. Heavenly Lady, you came from the celestial world. How is the celestial world now? An elder looked at the Heavenly Lady. The Heavenly Lady took a deep breath and said solemnly, "The factions of the celestial world have finally risen to the top after fighting each other. Oh, how are these factions compared to before the great ancient calamity?" An elder asked excitedly. Soon, the situation is about to take shape. The Heavenly Lady took a deep breath and said. The elders clenched their fists in excitement. After the great ancient calamity, the world was in a state of desolation. Now, things are finally looking up. Goddess Jichin sealed the 5 realms back then with the greatest purpose of ensuring the purity of the ancient divine souls and bloodlines. This is the last sealed realm. The netherworld has been destroyed. If we don't act now, Goddess Jichin's plan will be useless. Everyone, I propose that the God creation plan begin now. Everyone fell silent for a while, then nodded. God creation plan? Let's begin. I have information on all the outstanding people in the world. Inform them to come to the archaic Arcanum sect and accept the gift. An elder said with a serious expression. Yes, everyone answered. Great Jin Empire, Yin Capital, Upper Study Room. A group of ministers stood in front of the study table. Yin Chuan had returned and was looking at the different memorials. There were the secret reports from Lu Gang and the endless information collected by Meng Wenruo. North Divine Continent, Zhu, Yao Tianshang. The Yao race can also establish a fate dynasty? Yin Chuan frowned as he looked at one of the memorials. Meng Wenruo stepped forward. Your Majesty, it has been confirmed that Zhu was the strongest person in the world 30,000 years ago. However, he was a Yao in his previous life. In this life, Zhu shed his Yao body and turned into a human. He established a fate dynasty with a human body. In this life, Yao Tianshang is still a Yao. Moreover, he is imitating the great Zhun Empire. It is called the Yao Imperial Empire. Meng Wenruo explained. Yao race, Imperial Empire? Your Majesty, the Lushan Academy of the North Divine Continent. After submitting to the Yao Imperial Empire, Zhu took all the Fate Dynasty and formed it. Meng Wenruo explained. Lushan Academy is gone too. Yin Chuan pondered for a while. Yes, of the 4 great academies in the world, the Yushan Academy has submitted to the Diyu Celestial Empire, while the Lushan Academy has submitted to the Yao Imperial Empire. The only ones left are the Julu Academy and the Confucius Academy. Perhaps your Majesty has heard of the Confucius Academy. The Dean of the Confucius Academy is your Majesty's grandfather, Kong Daoqiu. Meng Wenruo explained. Kong Daoqiu? Grandpa? Huh. Yin Chuan sneered. Yin Chuan didn't have a good impression of Kong Daoqiu. Otherwise, when Kong Mok forced Kong Susu to her death, why didn't Kong Daoqiu stop him? Yin Chuan did not believe that Kong Daoqiu did not have the ability to do so. While everyone was discussing, Lu Jin's voice came from outside the hall. Your Majesty, Yin Wudi requests an audience. Lu Jin's voice sounded. Yin Wudi? The expressions of the ministers changed. Your Majesty, we will take our leave. Meng Wenruo said. Yin Chuan nodded. The ministers slowly left, leaving only Yin Chuan in the study. Let him in. Yin Chuan shouted. Yes. Soon, Yin Wudi stepped into the study. Yin Wudi was silent at this moment. Yin Chuan watched as Yin Wudi walked over until Yin Wudi was right in front of him. Uncle Chuan, your nephew was rash that day. Yin Wudi's voice was laced with guilt. Patting Yin Wudi's shoulder, Yin Chuan smiled faintly and said, Rash? I can understand how you feel. Let bygones be bygones. Although it's a pity for Yin Xiuyu, he still has you. Having you as his son was his greatest pride. You being able to live a good life was what he wanted to see before he died. Yin Wudi's eyes flashed with sadness. What do you plan to do next? Yin Chuan asked. Yin Wudi took a deep breath and was silent for a moment before he said, Your nephew promised to come back and help Uncle Chuan once I subdued the Dugu family. My father also hoped for this. If Uncle Chuan doesn't mind. Ha ha ha. I can't ask for more. Tell me, what do you want to do? Yin Chuan was in a good mood. This was the first time that Yin Chuan had let someone else choose an official. From this, it could be seen that Yin Chuan was very satisfied with this nephew of his. Yin Wudi naturally saw it too. At the same time, his eyes flashed with emotion. Uncle Chuan, I don't like politics. I like fighting more. I don't ask for fame. I just want to help Uncle Chuan. Yin Wudi said after some thought. Yin Wudi had been thinking about it before. However, Yin Wudi couldn't find a suitable position as an official in Dejun. He could only tell Yin Chuan his wish and let him make the decision. Oh, Yin Chuan was silent for a while. After a while, Yin Chuan spoke again. Wudi, I have a position here. It's a department that I've been thinking about for a long time. I wonder if you can do it? Please speak, Uncle Chuan. I want to set up a department of super assassins hidden under the facade of Dejun. It will clean up everything that can't be handled openly. It will only be responsible to me. I want everyone in this department to be my strongest weapon. Everything will be done cleanly and efficiently. For the sake of Dejun, we'll patch up all the loopholes. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said. Yin Wudi's eyes lit up. The only bad thing about this department is that it can't be exposed to the light. Yin Chuan said solemnly. I want to try. Yin Wudi said with a hint of joy. Good. Since that's the case, I'll leave it to you. I'll name it Heaven Mending Pavilion. You'll be the pavilion master of Heaven Mending Pavilion. You'll do things in the dark. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Yes. Invincible Territories Dugu family will do well in Heaven Mending Pavilion. Also, from today onwards, there will be no Yin Wudi in this world. Your Majesty, please call me Invincible Dugu. Yin Wudi said solemnly. Your Majesty? Invincible Dugu? When he heard Yin Wudi call himself Invincible Dugu, Yin Chuan frowned and sighed. Wudi, you don't have to be like this. Invincible Dugu shook his head. Since I've entered Grade Jun, I must understand that even I can't break the rules. Looking at the stubborn Invincible Dugu, Yin Chuan was silent for a while. In the end, he nodded. From today onwards, I confer Invincible Dugu as the Pavilion Master of Great Jun's Heaven Mending Pavilion. You'll be in charge of Heaven Mending Pavilion. You'll only be responsible to me, Yin Chuan said solemnly. Boom! In the outside world, Great Jun's Sea of Providence churned. A yellow light shot down from the roof and entered Invincible Dugu's body. Your subject, Invincible Dugu, will not disappoint your Majesty. Invincible Dugu bowed respectfully. Outside the study room, all of Great Jun's ministers looked up at the sky. Clearly, the group that went out earlier knew who had been conferred title. However, no one knew what position Invincible Dugu had been given. Chapter 956. Whoosh! The sky was gloomy, and heavy rain kept falling. In the evening, under the heavy rain, everything seemed unusually quiet. Outside the borders of the Great Jun Empire, a lesser sect, the Five Elements Sect. Five Elements Sect, the main hall of the sect. A group of cultivators was sitting in the main hall, led by a red-robed elder. The group frowned at each other. Sect Master, Emperor Immerse asked us to investigate the situation of the Great Jun Empire. But how are we going to investigate it now? The Great Jun Empire is getting stronger and stronger. That's right, Sect Master. The Great Jun Empire now has an imperial examination every year. More and more experts and wise people from the East Divine Continent have entered the Great Jun Empire. The original 1,100 cities were empty, but after a few decades, they are getting more and more abundant. Also, Yin Chuan, Yifeng, Huaguang, Jinyu, Lu Jin, and Bai Ditian have disappeared for decades. They suddenly returned, and no one knows where they went. How are we going to report to Emperor Immerse? The red-robed sect master's face was gloomy. That's not what I'm most worried about. I'm worried that the people we sent to infiltrate the Great Jin Empire have suddenly disappeared. I don't know if they have been captured. If they're captured, our whereabouts might be exposed. Wong Ke might have been delayed by something. There should be news soon. Even if there is no news, Wong Ke will not betray us. In the main hall, the Five Elements sect's upper echelons were analyzing the information. The heavy rain outside fell on the stone slabs, making pattering sounds. 5 elements sect at the foot of the mountain. At this moment, a group of uninvited guests came. A group of 50 people, all dressed in loose black robes. The rain fell on the black robes, sliding to the ground like raincoats. The 50 black-robed people's faces could not be seen clearly. The leader led the group and walked over step by step on the stone slabs. "Who is it? Stop!" Immediately, a 5 elements sect disciple jumped out. The leader slashed with the sword in his hand. TSK. The 5 elements sect disciple didn't even have time to scream before he was suddenly cut in half and fell onto the stone floor. The rain washed over him, and his blood dyed the surroundings red. The black-robed leader said indifferently, "This is Bution Pavilion's first operation. The 5 elements sect leave no one alive. Kill them all." "Yes," the group of black-robed men replied. "Shio." The 50 people instantly charged into the heavy rain and entered the 5 elements sect. 2 hours later, at the main peak of the 5 elements sect, at the peak of the 5 elements mountain, in the square of the 5 elements palace, dozens of corpses fell to the ground in the plaza. All of them died with one sword strike, dyeing the plaza red. Rumble. The sky was gloomy, and within the dark clouds, there was a desolate sound of thunder. A group of black-robed men waited. After a while, in the 5 elements hall, a black-robed man in the lead walked out of the hall under the protection of 3 other black-robed men. He walked to the square where the rain was pouring down. "Pavilion Master, the 5 elements sect has been annihilated." A black-robed man stepped forward and said. The leader of the black-robed men nodded and gently shook his black robe to shake off a large amount of rainwater. Then he stepped forward. The group of black-robed men followed behind him and left the 5 elements sect in the heavy rain. The heavy rain washed away the blood on the ground. The 5 elements sect had been annihilated, and not a single person was left alive. Only the footsteps of the group of black-robed men were left. Chapter 9:57. Dajin Empire, Yinjing. Chaotian Palace Plaza. Yin Chuan held an invitation in his hand, followed by a group of officials. A lady in green stood in front of him. "Yin Chuan, I have delivered the letter. Please head to the Archaic Arcanum sect on time." The lady in green said, "I remember you. When you first met the Heavenly Lady, you were beside her. Are you her servant?" Yin Chuan frowned and asked. The lady in green nodded and said, "I was fortunate enough to be chosen by the Heavenly Lady. Indeed, I have received the invitation from the Archaic Arcanum sect. You may return to report." Yin Chuan nodded. The lady in green nodded and was about to leave. "Wait," Yin Chuan suddenly said. The lady in green asked curiously. "There is one more thing I would like to ask. If it is convenient, please tell me." Yin Chuan said solemnly. "Oh," the lady in green asked curiously. "The Heavenly Lady, the Holy Lady of the Archaic Arcanum sect. I would like to know what the Heavenly Lady's real name is?" Yin Chuan asked seriously. After all, the Heavenly Lady and Zhenro were too similar. The Heavenly Lady was even born after Zhenro's death. Even if the Heavenly Lady said that she had regained her memories of her previous life and that she was not Zhenro, Yin Chuan did not give up. The lady in green smiled and said, "If it was before, I would not have said it. But it doesn't matter now. After all, you will know sooner or later. This time, the Heavenly Lady and the sect leader will host it together." "Oh, the Heavenly Lady's name is Zhao Afong. And I heard that this is a name given by the heavens and not by humans." The lady in green smiled. As she spoke, the lady in green bowed politely and flew into the sky. Suddenly, she turned into a huge green wand and flew towards the north. Zhao Hafeng, Jilu Academy, Meng Lingtian, Yu Yi, and Meng Rongrong sent off a green wand. Ancestor, the Archaic Arcanum sect, the God creation plan? Does the Archaic Arcanum sect really have such power? Yu Yi frowned. God creation plan? Ha! Meng Lingtian shook his head with disdain. Could it be fake? Meng Rongrong was puzzled. Meng Lingtian shook his head and said, The archaic mysteries sect is right to bemoan the state of the universe and pity the fate of mankind. However, the archaic mystery sect is not as powerful as the invitation said. The Celestial Arcanum sect only has a small foundation in the immortal world. Later on, they obtained some inheritances from ancient experts and knew a bit about the events that happened before the Great Ancient Calamity. Tens of thousands of years ago, they moved some of their disciples into this sealed world. And now, they're even more arrogant and want to create a god? I see. Lu, he nodded. There's no need to care about this god-making plan. If the archaic mysteries sect was truly powerful, why would they need to select the talents of the world? Why couldn't he become a god? My Julu Academy's founder, Invincible East, has already established a foundation in the immortal world. My Julu Academy has its own online inheritance. Even if I participate in this god creation plan, it's useless. Meng Lingtian shook his head. Yes, the two of them nodded. Great Buddha Imperial Dynasty. Kong Mok led his ministers to look at the Tianji sect's emissary. God creation plan? Kong Mok frowned as he looked at the invitation. I have already delivered the letter. If you wish to participate, please arrive on time. The emissary said solemnly. With that, the emissary left. Kong Mok was left behind, frowning as he looked at the invitation. At this moment, a golden light flashed. A middle-aged man in a white scholarly robe landed in front of Kong Mok. The man's long hair was combed back, and he held a purple bamboo scroll in his hand. On the scroll were the words spring and autumn. Although he was dressed in scholarly robes, he exuded an uncontrollable evil aura. Righteous and evil aura blended together, peaceful and violent. It looked very contradictory. Kong Daoqiu, what do you think? Kong Mok asked in a low voice. The scholarly robe man was the dean of the Confucius Lu Academy, Yan Chuan's grandfather, Kong Daoqiu. Kong Daoqiu watched the emissary leave, his eyes narrowing. Archaic Mysteries sect? They have a foundation in the immortal world. If that's the case, let's do our best to bring them into the Great Buddha Imperial Dynasty. Kong Daoqiu said lightly. Kong Mok nodded. I'll go with you then. Kong Daoqiu said solemnly. All right, Kong Mok nodded. Archaean sect's sacred ground. Meng Hongying, Rin Shu, and a man in a Taoist robe and a purple Taoist crown flew towards the north. The man with the purple Taoist crown was the leader of the three. The man looked like he was in his 50s, and he exuded a ferocious aura with every movement. He stood on a purple gourd that was as tall as a person. He stood on the purple gourd alone, and two purple lights shot out from his hands to carry Meng, Hongying, and Rinshu. Even though the purple gourd was a flying weapon, the man did not want the two of them to ride it together. Grandpa, is the invitation from the arcane sect real? Meng Hongying asked curiously. The man nodded. Since the arcane sect is willing to pay, there's no reason not to take it. Sacred leader, didn't the invitation say it clearly? With my status, I'm not qualified at all. What's the point of me going? Rinshu smiled bitterly. You can't go, but Hongying can. You have the ability to help Hongying, the man said in a deep voice. But, sacred leader, with my insignificant skills, how can I? Rinshu was still trying to evade. The man turned his head, and his eyes turned cold as he shot a murderous aura at Rinshu. Rinshu immediately stopped talking. If I want you to go, you have to go. If I say you're useful, then you're useful, Meng Sansheng said in a deep voice. All right, I'll try my best. Rinshu smiled bitterly. Grandpa, I'll go. You're not going? Meng Hongying asked in surprise. Meng Sansheng showed a hint of disdain. The arcane sect's god creation? I don't care about it, but it'll be best if you can succeed. Yes. Meng Hongying nodded. Dajiao's sacred ground. Mohina Dojin looked at the invitation and narrowed his eyes. Father, god creation? Why would the arcane sect create a god? Yang Ziga was puzzled. Mohina Dojin took a deep breath and said, Zhijio, this time, I'll go with you and take the first place. Yes. Yang Ziga nodded blankly. Great Jin Empire, Yin capital. Yin Chuan dealt with the state affairs, and gave some instructions. Finally, he bid farewell to ZZ. I'll be back as soon as possible. When I'm not around, Great Jun will depend on you, Yin Chuan said with certainty. ZZ nodded. With that, Yin Chuan led Feng Yinyang by Di Tian and Lu Jin into the sky. The four of them were all in the emptiness realm and flew toward the Archaean sect in the north. All the heroes of the world gathered at the Archaean sect. Chapter 958 North Divine Continent. Yin Chuan by Di Tian, Feng Yinyang, and Lu Jin were flying through the air. In the air. Your Majesty, are we a little early? Lu Jin asked after some thought. Yes, we are early because we have other things to do. Yin Chuan nodded. Oh, Feng Yinyang, you tell them. Yin Chuan looked at Feng Yinyang. Flying in the air, Feng Yinyang nodded and frowned. The North Divine Continent originally had three unique factions: the Archaic Mysteries Sect, the Lushan Academy, and the Feng Shui Northern Sect. We're going to the Feng Shui Northern Sect, Feng Yinyang explained. Lu Jin's expression changed. I remember seeing a rough map. The Feng Shui Northern Sect is close to the Lushan Academy. The Lushan Academy was annexed by the Goblin Imperial Dynasty. Your Majesty, are you worried that the Goblin Imperial Dynasty has designs on the Feng Shui Northern Sect? Yin Chuan nodded. Although the Feng Shui Northern Sect is strong, we have to be careful. Feng Yinyang continued. The Feng Shui Northern Sect and my Feng Shui Southern Sect are of the same origin. This time, we're going to see if we can merge them. Merge? With Mr.'s Feng Shui skills, he should be close to your master's. There is a high chance, Lu Jin said with a smile. Feng Yinyang shook his head and smiled bitterly. No, this time, the chances are very small. We might even be annexed by the other party. Oh, my branch was split in half a long time ago, into the north and south sections. Even though the two sects are in the north and south, the masters of the two sects are constantly thinking about annexing the other sect and making the other sect their own. Feng Yinyang said in a deep voice. Then why have there been so few battles in the past tens of thousands of years? Lu Jin asked. Because there is no point in fighting. In our lineage, only the sect leader has the true ability to control Feng Shui. The disciples of the sect are just servants. Although they know a lot about Feng Shui, compared to the sect leader, they know too little. As long as the sect leader is still around, the sect is still around. So, there is no point in fighting between the two sects. Feng Yinyang said. Oh, the sect master of the North faction is a powerful figure. When my master was still alive, he told me not to provoke him. His Feng Shui is so strong that even my master is ashamed of his inferiority. Feng Yinyang was worried. Ah, Lu Jin said in surprise. Our main goal this time is to test the Feng Shui Northern Sect and wait for the right opportunity. The three of us are here to protect Feng Yinyang. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Yes. Lu Jin nodded. How should I address the Northern sect leader? Lu Jin asked. His surname is Mu, and his name is Ghostfire. Feng Yinyang said. Mu's Ghostfire? Lu Jin muttered the strange name. 20 days later, the Northern Divine Continent was a place where heaven, earth, yuan, qi gathered. There were countless mountain ranges stacked on top of each other. If a knowledgeable person were to see this, they would definitely be astonished. This was because every single mountain range was actually a dragon vein. With tens of thousands of dragon veins gathered, the heaven, earth, yuan, qi here was 100 times more abundant than anywhere else. There were also countless cities in the area, and black-robed figures roamed the area. In one of the cities in the periphery, 5 black-robed figures stood on top of a city tower, looking into the distance. The southern sect has been destroyed. Junior brothers, did you find anything on your trip to the south? The leader of the black-robed figures asked with a frown. No, there is no news of Li Kanglin. From the looks of it, Li Kanglin has been killed. The Great Nightmare Heaven Dynasty also has Feng Shui masters, and we have fought with them before. However, compared to the sect leader, they are far inferior, another black-robed figure said. Chapter 959 Feng Shui masters? It doesn't matter if they're strong or not. What the sect leader wants to know is who obtained Li Kanglin's inheritance, the leader said. We've already identified 10 Feng Shui masters who are still alive. We've sent people to investigate. The leader was silent for a moment before he said, "Don't let any of them go." The sect leader values the inheritance of the southern sect. Find these people as soon as possible. Also, Yao Qianshang has taken over Lushan Academy and is currently stationed there. He's obviously planning to make a move against the northern sect. Zhu, Yao Qianshang, the most powerful person in the world 30,000 years ago? So what? The sect leader's strength is beyond their comprehension. Don't worry, eldest senior brother, another Feng Shui master said. The leader nodded. While the group of brothers were talking, a rumbling sound came from the south. What's that sound? Eldest senior brother frowned. Rumble. The sound from the south was getting closer and closer. It was as if 10,000 horses were galloping toward the northern sect. Roar, roar, roar. A dragon's roar came from the south, and the earth trembled. Swish, swish. A large number of Feng Shui masters gathered in the northern sect. They stood in a huge square in the south of the northern sect and looked toward the south. Is it the sound of the dragon veins? And there's more than one? Eldest senior brother said. Roar. Finally, after a dragon's roar, the scene in the distance was revealed to the group of Feng Shui masters. It was a huge mountain range. Amid the rumbling sound, the entire mountain range seemed to have come alive and was moving toward the northern sect. For figures stood at one end of the mountain range. It was as if they were standing on a dragon's head. The mountain range was rolling toward them. That was not all. Behind this mountain range, there were 99 similar mountain ranges moving with a rumbling sound. Yin Chuan and his group were at the top of the mountain range. Under the control of Feng Yinyang, 100 mountain ranges swept over like a river. Wherever they passed, the earth trembled and soil flew into the sky. 100 dragon veins? A Feng Shui master's expression changed. Riding 100 dragons? What a powerful Feng Shui master. Another northern sect Feng Shui master exclaimed. They don't come with good intentions. Defend. Eldest senior brother's expression changed. About 100 Feng Shui masters lined up in a line. Suddenly, they squatted down and stretched out their right hands. A yellow aura suddenly emerged from their right hands. Everyone thrust their palms into the ground. It was inserted into the soil. Dragon come. Eldest senior brother shouted coldly. Ong, ong. Suddenly, a deafening dragon roar came from behind the Feng Shui masters. Rumble. The earth churned as streaks of yellow light shot out. The yellow light rushed in front of everyone and suddenly broke out of the ground, forming hundreds of yellow dragons that bared their fangs and brandished their claws. The hundreds of yellow dragons were all thousands of feet long, and all of them glared angrily at the south. A fierce and violent aura surged forward. The northern sect was similar to the southern sect in that it was a holy land for Feng Shui cultivators. It had countless dragon veins, and as long as a disciple summoned them, the dragon veins would gather and serve as a weapon for Feng Shui masters. The 100 dragons roared. Under the control of the Feng Shui masters, they angrily rushed towards the 100 mountain ranges coming from the south. Boom! The 100 mountain ranges came to a sudden stop. Ong! Chapter 960. Above the 100 mountain ranges, a yellow light emerged from each of them. They were all in the shape of a dragon's head, confronting the 100 yellow dragons opposite them. Roar! 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 The dragons roared, and no one was willing to give in. Who are you? The eldest senior brother's face darkened as he shouted. On the peak of the leading mountain, Yin Chuan, Lu Jin, and Bai Ditian did not say anything. At this moment, Yin Chuan had completely handed the situation over to Feng Yinyang. Feng Yinyang took a step forward and said in a deep voice, Feng Yinyang of the South Sect requests to fight the Northern Sect, the ghost fire of the grave. Feng Yinyang shouted coldly. The 100 yellow dragons fell silent and no longer rampaged. South Sect? Wasn't the South Sect destroyed? A Feng Shui master muttered. However, the expression of the eldest senior brother changed. "You are from the South sect?" the eldest senior brother asked solemnly. The disciples of the Northern sect knew very little about the Ghost Valley, but it did not mean that they knew nothing. One person representing a sect was very common in feng shui cultivation. "Go and inform the ghost fire of the grave," Feng Yinyang said in a deep voice. The feng shui masters looked at each other. Finally, they looked at the eldest senior brother. The eldest senior brother looked at Feng Yinyang with uncertain eyes. Do you think you can meet the sect master just because you want to? South sect? You said that you represent the South sect. What proof do you have?" the eldest senior brother said with a serious expression. Feng Yinyang slowly jumped down the mountain. He walked forward step by step. "How do you want to prove it?" Feng Yinyang said calmly. "Controlling 100 dragons does not prove that you are the sect master of the South sect. If you want to meet the sect master of the Northern sect, show me your ability," the eldest senior brother shouted. Feng Yinyang smiled and nodded. He looked up at the 100 yellow dragons in front of the 100 feng shui masters and smiled. He reached out and grabbed the void. One of the dragon veins behind him suddenly shook. Then, an illusory yellow dragon broke out of its body and collided with the yellow dragon opposite it. Boom! When the two dragons collided, smoke and dust filled the air. Amidst the smog, the two dragon heads drew the endless power of the earth from the ground. As they stepped on the ground, their heads faced each other as they collided. Feng Yinyang waved his hand again. A yellow dragon rushed out from each of the 100 mountain ranges that came under the command of the Yin-Yang Imperial Messenger. Boom, boom, boom. The dragon's head collided with the dragon's head, and the huge collision caused the surrounding fog to become even denser. Roar! The 100 yellow dragons of the Southern sect and the 100 yellow dragons of the Northern sect collided and roared at each other. Neither side was willing to back down. Feng Yinyang, one man against 100 feng shui masters. The essence of the earth was extracted by the 200 yellow dragons, causing the soil to deteriorate and haze to fill the sky. Eldest senior brother's expression changed. The battle immediately attracted countless disciples of the Northern sect of feng shui, and a large number of feng shui masters rushed over from the north. At the same time, the feng shui masters quickly controlled the dragon veins to join the battle from all directions. Feng Yinyang, alone, wanted to fight the entire Northern sect of feng shui. The grand battle of magical powers immediately caused the surrounding cultivators to reveal astonished expressions. Someone actually dared to provoke the Northern sect of feng shui. Did he want to die? Not far from the Northern sect of feng shui, in a large hall of the Lushan Academy, Yao Tianshang was discussing something with a group of great demons. Reporting, Demon Emperor, there's a change in the Northern sect of feng shui. A great demon rushed into the hall. Yao Tianshang was puzzled. A feng shui master challenged the Northern sect of feng shui, the great demon said. Oh, a feng shui master challenged the Northern sect of feng shui? Haha, interesting. Who did he challenge? Yao Tianshang laughed curiously. No, he didn't challenge anyone. He challenged the Northern sect of feng shui. The great demon immediately corrected him. The great demons in the hall didn't understand. No, I watched from afar. That person didn't challenge anyone. He challenged the entire Northern sect of feng shui. He challenged the entire Northern sect of feng shui. He challenged all the feng shui masters of the Northern sect. He defeated 10,000 feng shui masters by himself. The great demon explained. Yao Tianshang, all the great demons. Chapter 961. No, I saw from afar. That person wasn't challenging anyone. He was challenging the entire feng shui Northern sect, the entire Northern sect. He was challenging all the feng shui masters in the Northern sect. 1 against 10,000. The great demon explained. Yao Tianshang, all the great demons. The hall immediately fell into silence. Bastard, how is that possible? Yao Tianshang immediately scolded. It's true. They've really started fighting. That feng shui master came with 100 dragon veins. He's fighting 100 feng shui masters alone, but 100 feng shui masters are still no match for him. More and more feng shui masters from the northern sect are joining the battle. The great demon immediately swore. Demon Emperor, it looks like it's true. The person who came is using feng shui to fight feng shui. And from the looks of it, this person's feng shui skills are extremely powerful. A great demon said with a frown. The two strongest feng shui masters in the world, Li Kanglin and Ghostfire. We don't know if Li Kanglin is dead or alive. Who is it? Another person asked worriedly. Demon Emperor, you stayed here to reclaim the willow, the wisps, but the northern sect's feng shui is too powerful. Now, this feng shui master is provoking the northern sect. Could he have the same goal as you? A great demon frowned. Yao Tianshang's eyes narrowed as he said, let's go and take a look. Also, Bat King, gather all the tribes near you. Bats are immune to feng shui to a certain extent, just in case something happens. Yes, a great demon answered immediately. Go. Taking a step forward, Yao Tianshang led a group of great Yao and flew out of the main hall, heading towards the feng shui northern sect. Feng shui northern sect south. More and more feng shui masters joined the fray. Arg, arg, arg. More and more dragon veins were extracted, and they exploded out with immense feng shui power. Right now, 2,000 northern sect yellow dragons were fighting against Feng Yinyang. Eldest senior brother's expression was extremely ugly. 2,000 against 100? Feng Yinyang did not have many yellow dragons. The northern sect had mobilized so many dragon veins. How could they not win? If it was a few decades ago, Feng Yinyang would not have been able to do so. However, in the past 50 years, Feng Yinyang had followed Yin Chuan into the heavenly secret realm. His birth chart power had increased by more than 10,000 years. Moreover, in the celestial realm, Feng Yinyang had fought with countless feng shui masters. Therefore, he quickly comprehended Li Kanglin's legacy. Right now, he was closing in on Li Kanglin. Aside from the sect masters, everyone else in the two feng shui sacred grounds was just a servant. Master versus servant. So what if you have more people? Now that Feng Yinyang's foundation has taken shape and his cultivation has reached the upper void realm, he is not afraid of the northern sect's disciples at all. Feng Yinyang had nothing to fear in terms of feng shui as long as it was not the willow, the wisp himself. Continue. Gather more dragon veins for me. I want to tear his 100 dragon veins to pieces. Eldest senior brother shouted angrily. At this moment, eldest senior brother represented the northern sect. This was no longer a matter of winning or losing. It was a matter of dignity. He had to defeat Feng Yinyang no matter what. Rumble. As the earth churned, tens of thousands of dragons roared and shook the sky. The entire northern sect knew that something big had happened. The dragon veins continued to surge. 2,000, 3,000 for 1,000. Dragon veins gathered one after another like a surging river, wanting to completely destroy the Yin-Yang bestowment. Great dragon vein expansion. Feng Yinyang shouted softly. A huge compass appeared under his feet. Chapter 962. On the compass, the 100 yellow dragons of Feng Yin and Yang that were struggling bitterly suddenly trembled. Whoosh! 1 turned into 2, 2 turned into 4, 4 turned into 8, 8 turned into 16. The 100 yellow dragons of the envoys of Yin and Yang continued to increase in number. From 100 to 1,000, from 1,000 to 5,000, and from 10,000 to 10,000. It was rapidly increasing in number. Of course, every time the number doubled, the yellow dragons became fainter. Feng Shui evolution? Are you trying to destroy these 100 dragon veins? The eldest senior brother exclaimed. Not just destroy. How can there be so many changes? This is impossible. The eldest senior brother exclaimed. Boom! Boom! More and more of the northern sect's dragon veins collided with the dragon veins that had been strengthened by the power of Yin and Yang. The essence of the earth was constantly being extracted from both sides. The further they went, the worse the earth became. Sand rose into the sky, and haze wreaked havoc. Rumble. Feng Yinyang's ability to fight 10,000 enemies alone was not an exaggeration. In the haze, 10,000 dragons fought. They fought fiercely, but even in such an intense battle, the will-o'-the-wisp did not appear. The mountain peak that Yin Chuan, Bai Ditian, and Lu Jin were standing on had been completely drained of its essence. It had turned into a pile of dust, and in the midst of the battle, it had formed a vast haze that soared into the sky. Yin Chuan, Bai Ditian, and Lu Jin flew into the sky and stood in midair to watch the battle. But as they watched, the three of them suddenly raised their eyebrows and turned their heads. Not far from the three of them, there were three other figures standing there: Meng Hongying, Rin Shu, and Meng Sansheng. When Meng Hongying saw Yin Chuan, she was first happy, then a trace of worry appeared on her face. Rin Shu's eyes shone brightly as he looked at Yin Chuan with surprise and curiosity. That was because Rin Shu had seen Yin Chuan before. Yin Chuan's cultivation had risen too quickly. How many years had it been? The leader of the three was Meng Sansheng. At this moment, Meng Sansheng was carrying a huge purple gourd on his back. His forehead was slightly protruding, and he was wearing a purple crown and a purple robe. He stood in front of the two people and looked at Yin Chuan and the others with a serious expression. Meng Sansheng, the current leader of the divine sect Sacred Grounds, the Empress' grandfather, Bai Ditian immediately transmitted to Yin Chuan. Meng Sansheng. Yin Chuan raised his eyebrows. Yin Chuan naturally wouldn't underestimate the lord of a holy land. Meng Sansheng glanced at the 10,000 dragon battle before turning to look at Yin Chuan's group. Grandpa, this is ZZ's husband, Yin Chuan of the Great Zhun Empire. Meng Hongying explained. Meng Sansheng looked at Yin Chuan. Greetings, divine sect, holy master, Yin Chuan said solemnly. Although he didn't have a good impression of the divine sect Sacred Grounds, he was still ZZ's grandfather. Yin Chuan still gave him enough respect. Meng Sansheng looked at Yin Chuan and smiled faintly before ignoring him. It was as if he didn't care about Yin Chuan at all. That look of disdain immediately made Lu Jin's expression change. Yin Chuan waved his hand and stopped Lu Jin's anger. Yin Chuan smiled faintly. Since others didn't care about him, why should he respect them? Moreover, ZZ didn't have any feelings for her grandfather. Then, Yin Chuan looked at Rin Shu and Meng Hongying. Rin Shu's eyes rolled around, thinking of something. As for Meng Hongying, she gave Yin Chuan an apologetic look. Faced with Meng Hongying's apologetic expression, Yin Chuan smiled slightly, indicating that it was fine. Meng Sansheng didn't care about Yin Chuan and looked at Bai Ditian. Bai Ditian, it's been 8,000 years. We meet again, Meng Sansheng said faintly. Bai Ditian frowned at Meng Sansheng and nodded. I heard that you've submitted to him. Meng Sansheng smiled. Bai Ditian frowned and said, Meng Sansheng, if you have something to say, just say it. Don't beat around the bush. It's been 8,000 years. You just reincarnated, right? Do you remember that you issued a challenge to our divine sect Sacred Grounds 8,000 years ago? Meng Sansheng said faintly. Bai Ditian frowned and said, that's in the past. You didn't come to challenge me, but you ascended with your wife. When your wife ascended, you didn't succeed in your tribulation and reincarnated. You may have forgotten, but I haven't. That challenge letter is still on my table. I know that you've lost 8,000 years of cultivation, but the challenge letter is a challenge. I won't bully you. If you can take one of my punches, I'll let bygones be bygones. Meng Sansheng said in a low voice. Bai Ditian, he seems to be testing you, Yin Chuan said with a smile. Bai Ditian nodded solemnly. Meng Sansheng looked at Yin Chuan suspiciously when he saw Bai Ditian agree with Yin Chuan. However, he quickly looked at Bai Ditian and said, don't worry. It's just a punch. I won't use my treasure. Bai Ditian looked at Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan nodded lightly. Meng Sansheng wanted to test Bai Ditian, but Yin Chuan also wanted to see Meng Sansheng's strength. Bai Ditian stepped forward. In the distance, Meng Hongying and Rin Shu also retreated. Lu Jin, do you know why Bai Ditian challenged Meng Sansheng back then? Yin Chuan asked in a low voice. Lu Jin, shook her head. There's very little information about 8,000 years ago. Bai Diqian was extremely calm and rarely did such a thing. There must be a very important grudge back then. We have to ask Bai Diqian to find out. Yin Chuan nodded and looked at the sky. The corners of Meng Sansheng's mouth curled up into a smile as he punched out. A huge purple fist aura condensed in the sky. Once the fist aura was released, it created a huge storm. This fist aura seemed to have passed through the storm. Bai Diqian's eyes narrowed as he punched out with his fist. When one's strength reached their level, any fancy Dharma techniques would seem insignificant. The white fist aura and the purple fist aura collided. Boom! When the two fists collided, a sharp aura shot out. Once the aura was released, the surrounding storm was destroyed. Boom! Under the huge aura of the fist aura, the endless fog was instantly washed away. The battle between the two upper void realm experts instantly released a huge amount of ferocious energy. Under the powerful aura, many Feng Shui masters on the ground were swept away. They all hid behind the yellow dragon in horror to resist the aftershock. The 10,000 dragon battle suddenly stopped. And where Yin Chuan was, there was also a strong wind blowing against Yin Chuan and Lu Jin. At this moment, even if the aftershock was strong, Yin Chuan didn't move. Instead, he stared at Meng Sansheng. At this moment, Meng Sansheng's pupils constricted and turned purple. His purple pupils emitted a faint light as he stared at the two fist auras. No, I technique, divine power. Meng Sansheng is not only testing Bai Diqian. What is he trying to do? Yin Chuan's face darkened. What kind of I technique is this? Yin Chuan frowned as he stared. Chapter 963. What kind of I technique is this? Yin Chuan frowned as he stared at it. In the sky, Bai Diqian's expression became even more savage. Meng Sansheng's expression suddenly changed. This was because the power of Bai Diqian's punch was not what he had imagined. Hadn't Bai Diqian not cultivated for 8,000 years? How could it be stronger than 8,000 years ago? Meng Sansheng's fist strength also rose sharply. Under the collision of power, the two powerhouses realized how powerful the other was, and their power increased sharply. Rumble! The air around them exploded, and the shockwave spread further and further. In the forest around the northern sect, countless creatures were curled up on the ground, not daring to get up. Bai Diqian, you're actually not at the 9th level of the upper void stage. I really underestimated you. Meng Sansheng said coldly. Meng Sansheng's fist power increased, but his pupils were still purple. A technique? Yin Chuan stared at Meng Sansheng's pupils. Meng Sansheng's pupils were slowly rotating. An unfathomable power flashed in his eyes. What kind of technique is this? What threat is there to Bai Diqian? Yin Chuan frowned and pondered. Not far away, Meng Hongying retreated again and again, but Ninth Rat's eyes were wide open. This is a technique? Isn't this the legendary eye of reincarnation? Ren Rat quickly retreated in horror. As it retreated, Ninth Rat stared at the distant Bai Diqian. Ren Rat said in shock, "Yes, I understand now. Bai Diqian is a reincarnated person, and he reincarnated with his memories. There must be some remnant samsara law in his life. Sacred Lord, are you trying to replicate all of the samsara law?" At this moment, Ninth Rat looked at Meng Sansheng with fear in its eyes. At this moment, Yao Tianshang was leading a group of great demons from the forest far away. Yao Tianshang raised his eyebrows as he watched the two experts fight from afar. Bai Diqian, is that Meng Sansheng? A great demon immediately recognized him. Both of them are at least at the 10th level of the upper void stage. Furthermore, he didn't even use his full strength. Yao Tianshang said with a serious expression. The group of great demons exclaimed in shock. Upper void stage? Although there were still many upper void stage cultivators in the world, everyone knew that the upper void stage was harder to cultivate as one progressed. Especially from the 9th layer onwards, there were countless difficulties and obstacles. There were even people who were stuck at the 9th layer for their entire lives. But all of them were at least at the 10th level. Rumble. Behind Yao Tianshang, there was a huge commotion in the sky. At the same time, the sky suddenly turned dark, covering the sun. Countless bats flapped their wings and flew over. Whoosh! The infinity bats brought with them gusts of wind. Swish! A black-robed man landed beside Yao Tianshang. Demon Emperor, the experts of my bat clan are all here. There are 36 million of them. The black-robed man laughed. All right, Bat King, tell them not to act rashly. Yao Tianshang shook his head. Bat King nodded. In the distance, Bai Ditian and Meng Sansheng were locked in a fist fight. Neither of them could do anything to the other. 30 minutes later, Meng Sansheng's eyes returned to normal. It was obvious that he had completely grasped Bai Ditian's reincarnation law. Boom! With a loud bang, their fists were separated by a huge force. Billowing winds swept up in the surroundings. Bai Ditian and Meng Sansheng looked at each other as if there was no victor. All right, that's it. Bai Ditian, you really surprised me. Meng Sansheng smiled faintly. Chapter 964. Bai Ditian narrowed his eyes as he stared at Meng Sansheng. Meng Sansheng, what are you doing here? Bai Ditian shouted. What I do is none of your business. Remember, it's best if you don't interfere. Meng Sansheng said in a deep voice. This tone made Bai Ditian squint his eyes in displeasure. Bai Ditian, Yin Chuan shouted. Bai Ditian looked at Yin Chuan and walked over. Let's take a look first. Yin Chuan smiled. And Bai Ditian nodded. Meng Sansheng no longer paid any attention to Yin Chuan and the other two. He scanned the surroundings again, and when he saw the bats and Yao Tianshang in the distance, a trace of disdain flashed across his eyes. Grave Willow, the Wisp, I'm here. Why aren't you coming out? Meng Sansheng shouted. With a clear shout, his voice immediately rolled out like thunder. However, the Grave Willow, the Wisp did not appear. Meng Sansheng narrowed his eyes, and a vicious look appeared in his eyes. Grave Willow, the Wisp, I'm here again. Why aren't you coming out? If you don't come out, I'll raze your northern sect to the ground. Meng Sansheng shouted again. Raze the northern sect to the ground? What arrogance! Both Yin Chuan and Yao Tianshang frowned as they looked at Meng Sansheng. How dare you? This is my Feng Shui northern sect. How dare you? The first senior brother shouted. Roar! A yellow dragon soared into the sky, carrying a ferocious aura as it clawed at Meng Sansheng. When the first senior brother attacked, about 100 Feng Shui masters controlled the yellow dragon to charge at Meng Sansheng, as if they wanted to tear him apart. Meng Sansheng smiled disdainfully as the huge gourd on his back flew into the sky. Treasure, please accept, Meng Sansheng said to the gourd solemnly. Xiaoqin shouted, and a strong suction force suddenly came out of the purple gourd's mouth. The suction force headed straight for the yellow dragon. Roar! The yellow dragon struggled as it was sucked towards the gourd. Whoosh! When it reached the edge of the gourd, it seemed to be sucked in by a suction force and was sucked into the gourd. 1, 10, 100 yellow dragons rushed towards the gourd. In the blink of an eye, all of the yellow dragons were sucked into the gourd. Meng Sansheng's mouth twitched as if he wasn't satisfied. The mouth of the gourd was facing the nearly 10,000 yellow dragons below. Ong! Ong! The 10,000 dragons cried out as if they were struggling against this suction force. However, under this suction force, they were unable to struggle at all. Even the yellow dragon that Feng Yinyang had summoned was being sucked away crazily. Feng Yinyang reached out to suppress it, but he couldn't suppress it at all. These dragon veins were being pulled towards the purple gourd uncontrollably. More and more. Impossible! Evil Taoist, stop! A Feng Shui master shouted angrily. Meng Sansheng snorted. The huge purple gourd pulled the cursing Feng Shui master towards it. In the blink of an eye, the 100 Feng Shui masters who had attacked Meng Sansheng were all sucked towards the purple gourd. Without exception, all of them were sucked towards the purple gourd. Ah! The Feng Shui master screamed. However, they couldn't stop it at all. Rumble! The huge purple gourd sucked in the dragon veins crazily. In the blink of an eye, the 10,000 yellow dragons formed by the dragon veins were sucked into the gourd. It even recruited 100 feng shui masters. Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. What kind of Dharma treasure is this? Yin Chuan asked in surprise. The primordial gourd. I've seen it 8,000 years ago, but it wasn't this powerful. Bai Ditian exclaimed. Chapter 965. Primordial Gourd? Yin Chuan frowned. At this moment, Meng Sansheng seemed to be unsatisfied. He pointed the mouth of the gourd at the countless bats behind Yao Tianshang. Rumble! The bats were sucked into the gourd, and the huge suction force couldn't stop them at all. Squeak, squeak, squeak! The bats flapped their wings in fear. Stop! Bat King shouted angrily. He opened his mouth and spat out a white light wave towards Meng Sansheng. Whoosh! The white light wave was sucked into the primordial gourd. While it was sucking the bats, it suddenly had a suction force on Bat King. Rumble! A huge force pulled on Bat King. Ah! Bat King screamed in fear. Pa! Yao Tianshang grabbed Bat King's leg and pulled him back slowly. With Yao Tianshang's strength, Bat King was able to avoid being sucked in by the purple gourd. Squeak, squeak, squeak! The bats flapped their wings in fear, but they were still sucked into the gourd. Empty. After all the bats entered the purple gourd, the suction force of the purple gourd stopped. Primordial gourd? Countless cultivators in all directions were shocked. Hundreds of feng shui masters, tens of thousands of dragon veins, and tens of millions of bat demons were sucked into the primordial gourd. Give me back my child! Bat King screamed in fear. If not for Yao Tianshang's strength, Bat King would have been sucked in as well. How could this gourd be so powerful? Meng Sansheng looked at Bat King coldly. Then, he looked at Yao Tianshang. Oomph! Meng Sansheng snorted. Yao Tianshang's eyes turned cold, but he didn't seek justice for these bats. Meng Sansheng's strength had exceeded Yao Tianshang's expectations. The primordial gourd could only be absorbed by those in the upper void realm. It seemed that anyone below the upper void realm, be it pure energy, demonic beasts, or humans, could absorb it. But what about after it was absorbed? It's sucked in and trapped. Lu Jin asked in surprise. No, Bai Ditian shook his head. It's not trapped. Then what is it? Lu Jin asked in surprise. Refine it. Bai Ditian took a deep breath. In the distance, Meng Sansheng closed the lid of the purple gourd and gently shook it. After shaking it 3 times, he took off the gourd lid again. The mouth of the gourd was facing Meng Sansheng. A strand of purple qi came out of the gourd and was sucked into Meng Sansheng's nose. The purple qi was refined. Lu Jin asked in surprise. That's right. That purple gas is the primordial violet qi that was refined from everything that was sucked into the gourd. Bai Ditian explained. Primordial gourd, primordial violet qi? Yin Chuan was finally moved. How could there be such a treasure in this world? Absorbing all things in the world and returning them to their origin to become primordial violet qi? Yao Tianshang exclaimed in shock from afar. Primordial violet qi has the ability to create. It's the source of heaven and earth's origin energy, and it can create all things in the world. The nearby 9th, Rat exclaimed in surprise. The primordial gourd has never been this strong in the past. Could it be that this primordial gourd is also a growth-type Dharma treasure? Bai Ditian took a deep breath. With this Dharma treasure, no one dared to underestimate Meng Sansheng anymore. Meng Sansheng had also shown that he had the ability to be arrogant. Meng Sansheng looked at Yao Tianshang from afar. He refined 30 million bat demons. Is he warning me not to interfere in what's going to happen next? Yao Tianshang said with a dark expression. Meng Sansheng did not look at the crowd anymore. Instead, he turned to the feng shui northern sect. Meng Sansheng believed that with his warning, no one would dare to stop him. Chapter 966. Grave Ghostfire, come out. Meng Sansheng shouted again. His voice pierced through the void. The entire northern sect was filled with Meng Sansheng's cold voice. There were many cities in the surroundings. Immediately, countless cultivators flew out of the cities in shock and quickly flew over. Yin Chuan restrained Feng Yinyang, Bai Ditian, and Lu Jin. Yao Tiansheng restrained his subordinates. They frowned as they looked at Meng Sansheng. They did not know why Meng Sansheng was here. None of the feng shui masters stepped forward to fight Meng Sansheng. The primordial gourd was too powerful. Feng Yinyang could fight 10,000 people by himself, but Meng Sansheng could kill 10,000 people by himself. He was even more terrifying than Feng Yinyang. Meng Sansheng led Meng Hongying and Ren Shu to the center of the sect. There was a huge mountain at the center of the northern sect. However, this mountain was different from the other mountains. It was as bare as a grave. It looked extremely desolate from afar. Meng Sansheng's powerful aura pressed down. In the distance, at the center of the mountain, a crack slowly appeared. A figure slowly walked out from the crack. It was a gray-robed old man with silver hair. His eyes were cloudy, and his face was covered in wrinkles. He did not seem powerful at all. He looked more like an ordinary old man. Meng Sansheng narrowed his eyes and withdrew his aura. Meng Sansheng stared at the gray-robed old man. The old man walked to a balcony that appeared in front of him. The old man stood quietly on the balcony. Countless feng shui masters were shocked. Sect master? How? How is this possible? One of the feng shui masters exclaimed. Your grave ghost fire? How did you become so old? Meng Sansheng was shocked. The old man was the northern sect's sect master, Grave Ghostfire. He stood quietly on the balcony and looked around. His gaze swept past the experts, and suddenly he saw Feng Yinyang. A glimmer of light flashed across the ghostly fire's turbid eyes. He seemed to have guessed something. In the end, Grave Ghostfire looked at Meng Sansheng. Meng Sansheng? It's been so many years since we last met. Why have you come to my northern sect? The Ghostfire asked in a hoarse voice. Meng Sansheng frowned, but he still said in a deep voice, I want to borrow something from you. The grave willow, the wisp was silent for a moment before saying, Don't tell me you want to borrow my head. Ha, my head. Maybe. I want the reincarnation pool. Meng Sansheng laughed. Reincarnation pool? Feng Yinyang's expression changed. What's wrong? Yin Chuan asked. Reincarnation pool? Your Majesty, this reincarnation pool is an important treasure of my Ghost Valley. You need to comprehend my Ghost Valley to a certain degree before you can refine it. My southern sect's sect masters, including my master, have never been able to refine it. This ghost flame is actually so powerful. Feng Yinyang said with a grave expression. Feng Yinyang exclaimed in surprise, while the ghost fire in the distant grave frowned. He turned his head and looked at the feng shui masters around him. Reincarnation pool? In order to refine the reincarnation pool, I reversed my lifespan and became what I am today. Only 5 people know about this, but I didn't expect you to plant a spy among them. Huh, you're really fast. The ghost fire's eyes turned cold. Grave Ghostfire waved his hand. Bang, bang. 2 of the feng shui masters suddenly exploded, and their souls appeared in the Ghostfire's palm. And it wasn't just the 2 of them. 3 other souls shot over from all directions, which were instantly compressed into the palm of the graveyard ghost flame. Chapter 967. Sectmaster, please spare my life. Sectmaster, I am innocent. Holy Lord, save me, save me. The 5 souls screamed in fear. Ka 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 ka. The 5 souls were crushed into a wisp of green smoke in the hand of the grave's willow the wisp. Their souls were all destroyed. The grave ghost flame looked at Meng Sansheng again. Meng Sansheng, I know that you are cultivating the power of reincarnation and are searching for the rules of reincarnation. Everything in the world has reincarnation. You can search for it, but don't try to take me away. Although my reincarnation pool is called reincarnation, it is not the reincarnation of this world. It is useless to you. The grave ghost flame said. Useless? How do you know it is useless? The reincarnation pool is mine. I rarely leave the divine world, and this is a rare opportunity for me to come to the north. The reincarnation pool is mine. Meng Sansheng shouted. Oof. The grave ghost flame snorted. If you want to see the reincarnation pool, go ahead. The grave ghost flame said coldly. As he spoke, the huge mound beneath the grave willow the wisp's feet slowly disappeared. The ground below suddenly turned into a quiet pool of water. The grave willow, the wisp slowly stood on top of the pool. Reincarnation pool. Feng Yinyang's face darkened. What's the use of the reincarnation pool? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Feng Yinyang smiled bitterly and said, Your Majesty, there are many treasures in the world. The reincarnation pool of the Phantom Valley is a strange treasure. According to the Phantom Valley's inheritance, once I refine the reincarnation pool, I can capture the reincarnation spirit from the reincarnation for my use. What? Forcefully capture the reincarnation spirit from the reincarnation pool? Bai Ditian was shocked. Meng Sansheng looked at the huge reincarnation pool from afar, and a look of satisfaction flashed across his eyes. His pupils shrank and turned purple as he stared at the reincarnation pool. On the other hand, Ren Rat was terrified. Holy lady, let's go. Run Rat shouted. What's wrong? I can sense that there's a terrifying power in the pool. Quick! Run Rat shouted. Meng Hongying saw Run Rat's expression and knew that it was dangerous. She quickly retreated and left Meng Sansheng. Buzz! A light ripple suddenly appeared in the reincarnation pool that was as calm as a mirror. Then the ripple became bigger and bigger. Slowly, a cultivator in blue Taoist robes emerged from the reincarnation pool. The cultivator in blue Taoist robes had his eyes closed and looked illusory. However, it seemed to only be his soul. Only when it completely floated out of the reincarnation pool did it suddenly open its eyes. Boom! The Taoist-robed cultivator released his aura, and a powerful storm erupted. Immortal? Meng Sansheng's face sank. The soul of an immortal? In the distance, Yao Tianshang's expression changed. Yin Chuan, Bai Ditian, and company also looked at the scene in shock. Immortal? A ghost immortal preparing to reincarnate? The inheritance is indeed right. The cycle pool is an incredible treasure. Feng Yinyang exclaimed in shock. Who is it? Who dares to disturb my reincarnation? The ghost immortal's face immediately revealed a furious expression. It's him, Meng Sansheng. The ghost fire pointed at Meng Sansheng. At this moment, the ghost immortal's consciousness seemed to be muddled, and he was only slightly clear-headed. Bastard! The ghost immortal roared angrily at Meng Sansheng. Go, tear him apart. The ghost fire called out softly. Boom! The ghost immortal charged into the sky and attacked Meng Sansheng. The moment the immortal appeared, the surrounding heaven-earth essence, Qi, seemed to boil. He reached out his hand and attacked Meng Sansheng with an immortal technique. Chapter 968. As soon as the immortal appeared, the heaven and earth essence Qi in the surroundings surged. He stretched out his hand and shot an immortal technique at Meng Sansheng. Above the void, a 10,000-foot tall mountain appeared out of thin air. It fell from the sky and pressed down on Meng Sansheng. Meng Sansheng's face darkened. He stretched out his hand and hit the sky. Boom! The vast purple fist energy blocked the 10,000-foot tall mountain. Roar! The ghost immortal roared and appeared at the peak of the mountain. He stepped on the mountain and exerted force with his feet. Boom! The mountain suddenly sank. Even with Meng Sansheng's strength, he was pressed into the ground from the sky. In the blink of an eye, he was pressed into the ground. When his feet touched the ground, Meng Sansheng was able to borrow strength. His feet trembled, and a wave of energy spread across the ground. It is indeed an immortal. Yin Chuan's eyes narrowed. Meng Sansheng was unable to resist? What level is this ghost immortal? Bai Ditian asked in surprise. Human immortal, the lowest level of immortal. I have killed one in my previous life. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Killed an immortal? Feng Yinyang, Bai Ditian, and Lu Jin looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. Was Yin Chuan that strong in his previous life? Yin Chuan continued to explain. Of course, killing a human immortal is not easy. I cannot kill one now. However, once Dezhun becomes a heavenly empire, I will not only be able to use the power of providence, but I will also be able to use the power of the nation and the power of the people. Once the heavenly empire is formed, I will be able to use the power of the people. It will not be difficult to kill a human immortal with the power of the nation. The three of them nodded. They did not understand. Your Majesty. Feng Yinyang suddenly narrowed his eyes. What is it? Yan Xuan asked curiously. Look at the willow, the wisp in the grave. Isn't it older than before? Feng Yinyang's expression changed. Everyone looked at the ghost flame. Indeed, there were more wrinkles on the ghost flame's body. He even looked thinner. It was as if a gentle breeze could blow it over. Indeed, Yan Xuan nodded. Taking a deep breath, Feng Yinyang's eyes lit up. The ghost fire in the grave sacrificed its lifespan in order to create the reincarnation pool. It must have consumed a lot to capture this ghost immortal from the reincarnation pool. Is it possible? Yan Xuan's expression changed. Feng Yinyang nodded and said, That's right. Perhaps there is a way. Your Majesty, this time we might be able to completely merge the Ghost Valley's branch. Yan Xuan nodded. The four of them stood in the distance, ready to cooperate with Feng Yinyang. At the peak of another mountain, Yao Tianshang and the group of great demons stared into the distance. Yao Tianshang narrowed his eyes. Yao Emperor, that's an immortal. A great Yao said worriedly. The demon emperor said in a low voice, Immortal? So what? In my previous life, I once killed a human immortal. Although that human immortal was suppressed by this world, I still killed him. What I care about is the Hongmeng Gourd. Hongmeng Gourd? The great demons were surprised. Yao Emperor, what about the reincarnation pool? Another great demon asked. Reincarnation pool? Don't you see that the ghost fire in the grave is getting older? From the name, you can guess that it is a treasure that connects to the reincarnation pool. In other words, it is just a reincarnation entrance opened by Feng Shui Master. That reincarnation entrance is useless to us now because there is no powerful Feng Shui Master who can control it. Even if there is a Feng Shui Master, doesn't the ghost fire's current condition mean that the reincarnation pool is a disaster? Yao Tianshang said calmly. Chapter 969. The Monster Emperor is wise. The great monsters were impressed. Remember, if you have the chance, follow me to get the primordial gourd. Yao Tianshang shouted. Yes. The great monsters replied. Rinrat and Meng Hongying retreated to the side. An immortal? Oh no, that's an immortal. The sacred master is in trouble. Rinrat said timidly. No, Grandpa will be fine. Meng Hongying said worriedly. Countless Feng Shui masters gathered from all directions and watched this scene with excitement. The sect master could even summon an immortal. He was too powerful. In the distance, Meng Sansheng, who was being crushed by the giant mountain, was having a hard time. You dare to disturb my reincarnation? Damn it. The immortal stomped his foot again. Boom! The giant mountain sank again. Meng Sansheng was about to be crushed. Roar! Meng Sansheng roared at the foot of the mountain. For a moment, purple light shone from the foot of the mountain. Bang! Boundless purple light instantly dyed the world purple. Countless cultivators in the surroundings revealed astonished expressions. They saw the giant mountain slowly rising. Meng Sansheng was lifting it up bit by bit. The surrounding cultivators all looked at this scene in shock. How is this possible? An immortal's attack? Although they were far away, everyone felt that it was unstoppable. Meng Sansheng blocked it. The purple light shrouded Meng Sansheng. Meng Sansheng's power could be vaguely seen inside the purple light. The purple Taoist crown slipped down, and Meng Sansheng's long hair fluttered. The primordial gourd left Meng Sansheng's body, and his back suddenly bulged. Boom! The bulge on Meng Sansheng's back suddenly exploded. In an instant, it turned into a pair of giant wings. The endless purple light was instantly sucked back into the wings. Buzz! When the purple light disappeared, people could finally see a pair of purple wings. It was exceptionally dazzling. Meng Sansheng's surroundings became blurry. Apparently, the air around him was trembling. A pair of purple wings appeared. Meng Sansheng's pressure was lifted. He held the giant mountain with a ferocious expression. The reincarnation pool? I'm taking it. Ha ha ha. Meng San Sheng suddenly laughed. His hand smashed towards the huge mountain. Boom! Meng San Sheng arrived in front of Ghost Immortal in an instant. You're courting death. Ghost Immortal roared. You're the one courting death. Meng San Sheng sneered. A man and an immortal clashed their palms together. Huh! Ghost Immortal's blue light and Meng San Sheng's purple light exploded with a dazzling brilliance. Heaven and earth lost their color in the face of these two colors. Under the dazzling light, the surrounding cultivators could not see what was going on. A ghost immortal who has lost his physical body wants to compete with me? Meng San Sheng roared in the light. Ah! Ghost Immortal's miserable shriek came from within the ball of light. Boom! The light suddenly dispersed, revealing a scene that shocked countless Xiuzha. Meng San Sheng had torn off the arms of that extremely powerful Ghost Immortal. He was incomparably weak from the pain. These weren't the arms of a physical body, but the body of a soul. Immortals had their arms twisted off by mortals? Was Meng San Sheng, who was flapping his wings, immortal? It was as if the immortal no longer had the strength to fight. Treasure, please take it. Meng San Sheng shouted again. Rumble. The primordial gourd madly sucked at Ghost Immortal again. Chapter 970. Ah, bastard! Ghost Immortal screamed in horror. But his arms were instantly sucked into the gourd. Roar! The weak Ghost Immortal fled in horror. But the suction force of the Hongmeng gourd was too strong. Ghost Immortal struggled to escape, but he couldn't escape from the Hongmeng gourd. Take! 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 Ah! Finally, Ghost Immortal couldn't hold on any longer. He screamed and was forcibly sucked into the Hongmeng gourd. Bang! Meng San Sheng closed the Hongmeng gourd. Countless cultivators in the surroundings were at a loss. At this moment, even though there were millions of cultivators around, they were still silent. Immortal? That's an immortal. Was he sucked into the Hongmeng gourd? In the distance, Yao Tianshang looked at the Hongmeng gourd with more enthusiasm. This was a fanaticism. Immortal? Even an immortal could be sucked in? Could it be that after injuring the opponent and making them unable to resist, it could be taken at will? Meng San Sheng grabbed the Hongmeng gourd and shook it gently, as if he was refining Ghost Immortal. Not far away, Ninth Rat's eyes were wide open. He looked at Meng San Sheng's current state with a blank expression. Wings on his back. Refining an immortal? How strong is Meng San Sheng? 3 times, still 3 times. Meng San Sheng gently opened the gourd. Suddenly, more Hongmeng purple chi than before appeared and was sucked into Meng San Sheng's stomach. Was the immortal already refined? Countless cultivators in all directions were horrified. Meng San Sheng was too terrifying. Feng Yinyang was slightly worried, but Yin Chuan's eyes flashed with a glimmer of light. Because Yin Chuan was more farsighted. The stronger Meng San Sheng was, the more desperate grave Ghost Flame would be. It would lay a stronger foundation for Feng Yinyang to obtain the other half of Ghost Valley's inheritance. In the distance, Meng San Sheng stood high in the sky again, looking down with a pair of giant purple wings. Grave Ghost Flame, give me the reincarnation pool. Meng San Sheng said coldly. At this moment, Meng San Sheng was the only one in the whole place. It seemed that no one could stop him. Below, above the reincarnation pool, the Ghost Flame shook his head. Meng San Sheng, you should know that in order to refine the reincarnation pool, I reversed the flow of my lifespan. My lifespan and the reincarnation pool are one. Giving you the reincarnation pool is the same as giving you my life. Do you think it's possible? I'm already here today. Even if you're an immortal, I'll still refine it. The Grand Mist Violet Chi refined by an immortal will allow me to reach my peak state. You can't stop me, Meng San Sheng shouted. At this moment, the ghost fire in the grave suddenly aged once more. Its originally silver-white hair had now turned white. A large amount of hair fell out, and his body became thinner. More and more wrinkles appeared, and even a few of his teeth suddenly fell out. The grave Ghost Flame said in a hoarse voice, Human immortal, you can stop it. Let's see how a Xian immortal can stop it. Rumble. The entire reincarnation pool was like boiling water. In an instant, there was an uproar. It had to be known that when the ghost immortal appeared, it was merely a ripple. Now, the entire pool was boiling. A towering aura was emitted from the reincarnation pool. As soon as the powerful aura was released, countless cultivators in the surroundings were suppressed to the point that they curled up on the ground. Just this suppression alone was enough to make countless cultivators unable to bear it. A pair of huge black dragon horns slowly emerged from the reincarnation pool. As soon as the dragon horns appeared, the surroundings were immediately filled with black chi. The dragon horns continued to rise, and gradually, a huge dragon head slowly emerged from the reincarnation pool. Chapter 971. The surrounding void trembled violently. Once the berserk aura of a Xian immortal was released, it immediately forced countless practitioners to fall to the ground. The powerful pressure made countless practitioners unable to breathe for a moment. Immortal? Is this the power of an immortal? Countless cultivators roared in their hearts. Facing this aura, many Shioja suddenly felt that they were like ants. A huge black dragon had slowly rushed out of the reincarnation pool. This time, it was different from before. It had a physical body. However, this was a blind dragon. Roar! The blind dragon roared and waved its tail. Its body drilled out of the reincarnation pool. Boom! Coiling in the air, a domineering aura spread out. Who is it? The blind dragon roared. It's him! Meng Sansheng, tear him to pieces. The ghost flame in the grave yelled weakly. Roar! The blind dragon charged at Meng Sansheng. Meng Sansheng's face darkened. He struck out with his palm, and a huge palm print appeared in the air. Boom! The blind dragon angrily roared and slammed into Meng Sansheng. It soared into the sky with a loud bang. Bastard! Meng Sansheng's face changed. This was the first time Meng Sansheng lost his composure. Meng Sansheng still had some strength when facing a human immortal, but now it was a profound immortal with a physical body. Meng Sansheng was forced to retreat. This is a corpse dragon. Feng Yinyang's face darkened. Corpse dragon. Lu Jin didn't understand. There are volcanoes in the world of the living and springs in the world of the underworld. They are filled with extreme yin and death chi. If a cultivator's physical body falls in, it will quickly freeze into powder. However, there are exceptions. They can absorb the power of the springs and come back to life. However, when they come back to life, they will be in the form of a zombie. Moreover, all of them are king zombies. Feng Yinyang explained. King zombies? You're saying that this corpse dragon died a long time ago and was revived by the springs? Lu Jin was shocked. Yan Chuan didn't care about the corpse dragon. Instead, he stared at the reincarnation pool in the distance. Feng Yinyang, get ready. Yan Chuan shouted. Feng Yinyang's expression changed as he nodded. Ong. The corpse dragon soared into the sky, and its explosive power smashed into Meng Sansheng. The huge collision caused the surrounding space to explode and a storm to rise. The earth trembled as the two collided. Countless feng shui masters looked up at the sky in admiration. That was a Xian immortal. It was summoned by the sect leader. It was an existence that could only be achieved after transcending the tribulation at the 10th level of the upper void stage. But now, he was working for the sect leader? Yao Tianshang glanced at the ghost fire in the distance and immediately confirmed his thoughts. Returning to the pool would consume a lot of his lifespan. Even if he took it, it wouldn't be of much use. However, the Hongmeng gourd was different. Demon Emperor, what do we do now? A great demon asked with a hint of joy. Meng Sansheng has finally met his match. Let's wait. Yao Tianshang's eyes glowed. But Renrat and Meng Hongying kept retreating. Xian immortal? How can the ghost fire summon such an existence? Renrat said in fear. The surface of the reincarnation pool slowly calmed down. To the ghost fire, summoning the Xian immortal and giving it a command was enough. Whoosh! All of a sudden, 4 figures shot over. In an instant, 4 figures appeared in front of the reincarnation pool. Feng Yinyang, Yin Chuan, Lu Jin, and Bai Ditian all looked at the ghost fire with a serious expression. The ghost fire narrowed its eyes and stared at Feng Yinyang. Chapter 972. Li Kanglin passed it to you? The grave asked in a hoarse voice. Sect Master Nan, Feng Yinyang, greets the Northern Sect Master. Feng Yinyang took a deep breath and said, I met Li Kanglin 100 years ago. I didn't expect him to pass it to you in just 100 years. I saw how you controlled the 100 dragons. It's incredible that you can develop the Ghost Valley to this extent in just 100 years. The grave said in a low voice. Feng Yinyang didn't want to take advantage of others. I believe that one day I will be able to take back the Northern Sect's inheritance and unite the Ghost Valley. However, the world has changed and the immortals are no longer restricted. In fact, immortals from the immortal world will enter this world one after another. At that time, if the Ghost Valley's enemies come, we won't be able to unite the Ghost Valley. If we lose one, our lineage will be broken. We can only offend them this time. Feng Yinyang took a deep breath and said. The grave smiled at Feng Yinyang. If you want it, come. The grave smiled. As the grave spoke, it slowly sank into the reincarnation pool. Feng Yinyang's face darkened. Your Majesty, follow me. Feng Yinyang shouted. Okay. The 4 of them immediately flew to the reincarnation pool and jumped in together. Plop. As if they had fallen into water, they sank into the pool. Yin Chuan's actions also attracted the attention of the surrounding experts. Yao Tianshang narrowed his eyes. Demon Emperor, Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian are chasing after the grave? A great demon said worriedly. Yao Tianshang sneered and said, That's for the best. They won't disturb us. Yao Tianshang didn't care. However, the Feng Shui masters didn't think so. Oh no, it's Feng Yinyang from the South Sect. They are chasing after the Sect Master? The South Sect wants to snatch the Sect Master's inheritance? Quick, protect the Sect Master. Jiahu came from all directions. A large number of Feng Shui masters quickly gathered and jumped into the reincarnation pool. Once they entered the reincarnation pool, Yin Chuan and the others felt as if they were in the depths of the universe. Not far away was a huge blue hole. Inside the hole, circles of blue light were spinning crazily. Within the blue light, there seemed to be different figures appearing and disappearing from time to time. The grave stood in front of the Whole Lord and looked at the 4 of them. Your Majesty, that's the reincarnation passage. Don't go in there. The pressure of the reincarnation passage can turn even a human immortal into dust. Feng Yinyang said. Yes. Yin Chuan nodded. The grave willow. The wisp looked at Feng Yinyang and said, You want my inheritance? I'll give you a chance. The Ghost Valley Spirit Realm? Yainin in the end, he said, the reincarnation pool. And S. He closed his eyes and placed his hands on his knees. Feng Yinyang took a deep breath and said, Your Majesty, the Ghost Valley Spirit Realm is a fighting technique of the Ghost Valley. It's a battle in the realm of mind. There's no concept of time there. I might wake up in a few breaths, or it might take a few days. Your Majesty, please protect me and ensure that my body won't be hurt. Okay, Yin Chuan nodded. By the way, Your Majesty, don't get within 30 meters of the ghost fire because the reincarnation passage will take you in. The reason he can sit there is because he has the reincarnation pool, so no one can touch his body. Feng Yinyang warned. Okay. Yin Chuan nodded. Chapter 973. In the void, Feng Yinyang and Ghostfire sat cross-legged and slowly closed their eyes. Buzz! Both of their bodies trembled slightly. Then, they fell into a long silence. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, a large number of Feng Shui masters rushed into the reincarnation pool and appeared in the void. Countless Feng Shui masters looked around in confusion. Then, a Feng Shui master flew toward Ghostfire. Sect Master, are you all right? That person quickly approached. However, a suction force came from behind Ghostfire, and that person screamed as he was sucked into the reincarnation passage. Whoosh! That person disappeared without a trace. Countless feng shui masters froze and did not dare to move forward. As for Yin Chuan's group, seeing that Ghostfire was fine, no one dared to cause trouble. After all, the clash between Bai Ditian and Meng Sansheng was deeply engraved in everyone's minds. Yin Chuan, Lu Jin, and Bai Ditian protected Feng Yinyang and did not move. At this moment, Ghostfire's body trembled slightly, and a soul slowly emerged from Ghostfire's body. Keek keek. That wisp of soul let out a sinister and evil laugh. Sect Master, are you all right? A feng shui master asked with concern. The wisp of soul was still connected to the willow, the wisp in the grave. Keek keek. Ghostfire, you have some tricks up your sleeve. As expected of a descendant of my Mu clan, I destroyed your fate, but you still managed to escape here and achieve what you have today. The reincarnation passage? You can actually open the reincarnation passage. The wisp of soul laughed evilly in surprise. That soul is not Ghostfire. Lu Jin's expression changed. Mu clan? This is a clan? Yin Chuan's expression darkened. The wisp of soul that emerged from the grave, Will-O-Wisp, looked around and finally looked at Feng Yinyang. Keek keek, you actually established a consciousness passage with someone else? Through the bloodline of the Mu clan, I can't harm you, but as long as I kill him, your consciousness will be destroyed along with him. Ha ha ha. Reincarnation passage? You're really making things easy for me. The soul laughed evilly. Then, the soul waved at the reincarnation passage. Roar! A green dragon soul rushed out of the reincarnation passage and charged towards Feng Yinyang. Boom! Lu Jin punched out and immediately scattered the soul. Oh, Immortal? Ha ha! The soul said disdainfully. He continued to wave his hand. Rumble! In an instant, a large number of Yin souls rushed out of the reincarnation passage and pounced on Feng Yinyang. Roar! 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 The divine souls of humans, demons, and dragons were summoned. A large number of divine souls that had been reincarnated were summoned and rushed towards Yin Chuan and the others. Boom! 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 Lu Jin flicked her horsetail whisk and quickly fought against the souls that came one after another. But more and more divine souls appeared. Kakik, at the entrance of the reincarnation passage, I can have as many reincarnated divine souls as I want. Let's see how long you can last. The Mu clan laughed evilly. Then, a large number of souls poured out of the reincarnation passage. Your Majesty, these souls are in a chaotic state. Although they are not as strong as immortals, they are quite extraordinary. The old slave can't hold on much longer. Lu Jin exclaimed. Let me. Bai Ditian stepped forward. Chapter 974. No, his souls are endless. It's useless even if you come. Let me do it. Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Bai Ditian looked at Yin Chuan in confusion. Protect Feng Yinyang well. Yin Chuan instructed and stepped forward. Yin Chuan reached out with his right hand and said, Stellar Cycle. Whoosh! A strange energy suddenly appeared around Yin Chuan. This energy instantly locked onto the 36 souls and pulled them. The souls immediately began to revolve according to a specific trajectory, like the rotation of the stars. The souls seemed to have lost their sense of purpose and began to revolve according to the trajectory. Then they began to attack the other soul. He's controlling the souls that I've enslaved to deal with me? Musher's soul said in surprise. Rumble. The number of god souls around Yin Chuan quickly increased from 36 to 360, and then to 3,600. More and more souls began to revolve around Yin Chuan. It was as if Yin Chuan had become the center of the universe. Countless stars in the universe were revolving around him rapidly. Rumble. Under Yin Chuan's stellar cycle, more and more souls were being controlled. They swept towards the other side like a storm. Musher's soul could continuously summon souls, but Yin Chuan's control was faster than his. In an instant, the battle became a stalemate. How is this possible? Who are you? How can a mortal have such a profound cultivation technique? What cultivation technique is this? Musher exclaimed. Within the storm of souls, Yin Chuan smiled coldly and ignored him. Rumble. The surging souls began to flow back and collided with Mu Shi's soul again and again. It caused great damage to his soul. Bastard! Mu Shi shouted coldly. Yin Chuan ignored him, paying him back in his own coin. Every soul that came out would flow back. It was much more brilliant than Lu Jin's destruction. About 2 hours later, Buzz, Feng Yin-yang, and the grave ghost flame trembled. The two of them slowly opened their eyes. Grave phosphorescent bones? You actually chased me all the way here. Since that's the case, go back to reincarnation. Boom! Mu Shi's soul was instantly pushed into the reincarnation passage. Bastard, bastard will-o'-the-wisp. I will come back for you. Mu Shi's soul roared, but in the blink of an eye, it was drowned in the reincarnation passageway. With a wave of Yin Chuan's hand, the rolling souls also entered the reincarnation passage. Only then did the grave ghost fire look at Feng Yin-yang. Feng Yin-yang? Who would have thought? Who would have thought that in 100,000 years in the consciousness world, your soul would awaken more and more? Who would have thought that you're actually the reincarnation of our lineage's progenitor? The ghost flame in the grave suddenly spoke. After reincarnating for 10,000 lifetimes, you actually returned. You are Gui Guzi. The ghostly flame in the grave narrowed its eyes. Gui Guzi? Feng Yin-yang asked in confusion. Don't you feel more and more familiar with the Gu lineage's spells? The ghost flame in the grave said in a deep voice. That's right. Feng Yin-yang nodded. You haven't recovered your memories from your previous life, so naturally you don't know. Others might not know who Gui Guzi is, but I, Mu Shi, know. Who would have thought that it would be you? Ha ha. Gui Gu's inheritance. I'll return it to you. The ghost flame in the grave suddenly laughed. As it spoke, the ghost flame in the grave took out a black jade token. However, it was only half of a jade token. Sect Master, you can't. The Northern Sect disciples exclaimed. How could this be passed to the Southern Sect? Their eyes were filled with greed. If the Sect Master wanted to pass it down, he could pass it to the Northern Sect disciples. The ghost flame in the grave glanced coldly at the crowd. Humph. The Northern Sect disciples immediately fell silent. I'll give it to whoever I want. It's not up to you. The ghost flame in the grave said coldly. Yes. The Northern Sect disciples nodded gloomily. The jade token flew towards Feng Yin-yang. Feng Yin-yang actually took out the other half of the jade token. When the two pieces touched, they actually merged into one. You're giving it to me just like that? Feng Yin-yang exclaimed. It's a long story. Haha, you don't need to know for now. Anyway, it's because of Gui Gu's inheritance that I was able to fix my fate. Consider it as me owing Gui Gu's lineage. Now, I'm returning it to its rightful owner. The reason why I can refine the reincarnation pool is not because I have a deeper understanding of Gui Gu's inheritance. On the contrary, I can't study Gui Gu's inheritance at all. This inheritance can only be comprehended by Gui Guzi himself. The reason why I can open the reincarnation pool is because of my Mu Shi clan's talent. The reason why I opened the reincarnation pool and this reincarnation passage is actually to enter the reincarnation cycle and reincarnate into the life form I want. The ghost flame in the grave laughed. You want to reincarnate? Feng Yin-yang exclaimed. You don't understand the Mu Shi clan. Don't worry about me. Our clan grows through reincarnation. We like to reincarnate. In reincarnation, we can obtain power. The ghost flame in the grave laughed. Northern Sect disciples, listen up. From now on, Feng Yin-yang is the Northern Sect master. All Feng Shui masters, listen to my orders. The ghost flame in the grave gave the final order. Yes, countless Feng Shui masters said blankly. The ghost flame in the grave stood up. Looking at everyone, he finally looked at Feng Yin-yang and said, If possible, we'll meet again in the immortal world. Whoosh! The ghost flame in the grave jumped into the reincarnation cycle. The entrance of the reincarnation passage suddenly shrank until it disappeared. Rumble. The void was slowly collapsing as well. Everyone returned to the outside world. The reincarnation pool from before also collapsed after the ghost flame in the grave reincarnated. Everyone was at a loss. The ghost flame in the grave reincarnated? Feng Yinyang became the Northern Sect's sect master in the blink of an eye. Feng Yinyang grabbed the complete jade token. The Ghost Valley's branch could be considered to have officially merged. Feng Yinyang himself was also at a loss. Guzi, the reincarnation of the ancestor of the Ghost Valley clan? Is that true? Yin Chuan and the others also frowned. They were surprised by Feng Yinyang. At the same time, they were also surprised by the ghost flame in the grave. Musher clan? Growing through reincarnation? No wonder he didn't care about his lifespan. What kind of strange clan was this? After reincarnation, didn't they become another person? How did the clan continue? How could they still be called the Musher clan? It seems that my understanding of the immortal world is still too little. Yinchuan finally could not help but sigh. However, in general, Yinchuan's harvest this time was enough. Feng Yinyang finally took back the complete inheritance of the Ghost Valley clan. Feng Yinyang also quickly put away his inheritance. Greetings, Sect Master, a group of Feng Shui masters respectfully said. A group of Feng Shui masters remembered the Ghost Flame's last words. Ancestor? All the Feng Shui masters looked at Feng Yinyang eagerly. And Feng Yinyang nodded. He recognized a large number of Feng Shui masters. He took over the entire northern sect. Congratulations, Mr. Feng, Yinchuan said with a smile. Same to you. Feng Yinyang nodded. At this moment, he was in a good mood. Chapter 975. Atlas Studios by D. Tian. What are you doing? Yao Tiansheng shouted from afar. By D. Tian? Meng Sansheng was shocked. Meng Sansheng is the grandfather of the Empress of Great Jun. I am here on the orders of Great Jun to save Meng Sansheng. Bai Ditian immediately made his intentions clear. Boom! Bai Ditian struck out with his palm, causing the void to tremble. The two of them, who were originally glued to each other, suddenly separated. The group of great demons surrounded Yao Tiansheng. Meng Sansheng was panting as he looked at Yao Tiansheng coldly. Bai Ditian was in the middle of them, and the three of them formed a triangle as they looked at each other coldly. Bai Ditian had saved Meng Sansheng, but Meng Sansheng was not grateful to Bai Ditian. He knew how precious the primordial gourd was, and he was also worried that Bai Ditian was here to snatch it. Swish! Yin Chuan, Lu Jin, Feng Yinyang, Meng Hongying, and Ninth Rat immediately flew over. The group of great demons also flew behind Yao Tiansheng. Grandfather! Meng Hongying flew over worriedly. Saint Lord! Ninth Rat also flew over. Bai Ditian slowly retreated behind Yin Chuan. At this moment, Meng Sansheng looked at Yin Chuan seriously. At the same time, he understood that not only had he misjudged Yao Tiansheng, but he had misjudged Yin Chuan as well. Yin Chuan, what are you trying to do? Yao Tiansheng narrowed his eyes and asked in a low voice. Yin Chuan smiled and said in a deep voice, My wife, ZZ. Although Meng Sansheng did not take care of ZZ in the past, he is still ZZ's grandfather. I have to interfere. Ha 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 ha, interfere? I think you're also interested in his primordial gourd. Don't tell me you have not thought about it. Yao Tiansheng laughed coldly. Meng Sansheng narrowed his eyes. Who doesn't like treasures in the world? However, I am different from you. There are some things that can be done, and some things that cannot be done. Meng Sansheng, if you are willing to stay, I will help you to chase Yao Tiansheng away. If you are not willing to stay, then leave. I will help you to stop Yao Tiansheng. Yin Chuan said solemnly. In Yao Tiansheng's face, Yin did not want to obtain the primordial gourd. Meng Sansheng looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. But Meng Sansheng still took a deep breath and said, Then I'll be leaving first. See you Xia Meng Tianmeng. Meng Sansheng looked at Yin Chuan with a complicated expression. On Ing, Ninth Rat, let's go. Meng Sansheng swung the Grand Mist gourd, stepped on it, and quickly flew away. Meng's Meng Yao 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 Yao. Who? Yin Chuan and the others immediately stood in front of Yao Tiansheng. Demon Yao, Shun Tian 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 Ming, Yu Tian Tian, Shun Tian Ming Ming. By Di Tian, Lu Jin, and Feng Yinyang were all accumulating their power and waiting for Yin Chuan's command. Yao Tian Shang stared at Yin Chuan. His eyes flashed with irritation. All the great beasts gathered their auras. Once Yao Tian Shang gave the order, they would attack. The two sides looked at each other. Their battle intent soared, but no one took a step forward. Meng Sansheng, who had flown far away, turned around. When he saw Yin Chuan blocking in front of Yao Tian Shang, he raised his eyebrows. Although Meng Sansheng was confused, he did not stop. His injuries from fighting a mystic immortal were too severe. He had to go back and recuperate. Yin Chuan and Yao Tian Shang looked at each other coldly. Yao Tian Shang could tell that Yin Chuan was determined to stop him. Did he really not want the primordial gourd? The great beasts behind him were getting stronger. They were waiting for Yao Tian Shang's order. "Ah, Yin Chuan, the first time I fought with the ancient moon holy child in sound technique, you ruined it. I knew you were extraordinary, but today I realized that I still underestimated you. You didn't even move in the face of such a precious treasure," Yao Tianshang said with a dark expression. "I said that he is my wife's ancestor," Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Yao Tianshang smiled coldly. "Your wife's ancestor? Do you think I will believe you? You don't care about the primordial gourd. This means that you have greater ambitions. You are only so bold because of your greater ambitions." "Thank you. You flatter me," Yin Chuan said casually. "You know very well whether you flatter me or not. Let's go," Yao Tianshang said coldly. The demon emperor is leaving just like that?" All the great beasts were shocked. However, Yao Tianshang did not care. He waved his sleeves and walked away. When the group of great demons saw this, they glared at Yin Chuan angrily before leaving with Yao Tianshang. Why did Yao Tianshang leave just like that? Lu Jin was confused. A battle without benefits is the stupidest battle. Moreover, we still have to go to the archaic mysteries sect. Yao Tianshang does not want to suffer any injuries here. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and explained. Lu Jin nodded. She finally understood. Watching the two parties leave, Yin Chuan's heart was at ease. In this battle, it seemed like he was the only one who benefited. Feng Yinyang, since you have become the leader of the northern sect, move the northern sect back to Great Jun as soon as possible. Yin Chuan looked at Feng Yinyang and said, "Yes, I just wanted to say that I have just received the Fana Valley's inheritance and need some time to cultivate. I might not be able to follow your majesty to the archaic mysteries sect." Feng Yinyang sighed. "Since that is the case, you can stay here. After you control the northern sect, you can return to Great Jun." Yin Chuan looked at Feng Yinyang and said, "Yes." Feng Yinyang replied, "Let's go," Yin Chuan said. Bai Ditian and Lu Jin nodded. The three of them flew towards the north again. Above the blue sky, Meng Sansheng flew quickly with Ren Rat and Meng Hongying. Meng Sansheng sat on the Hongmeng gourd and meditated for a while before opening his eyes. "Grandfather, are we still going to the archaic mysteries sect?" Meng Hongying asked. "No, I am too tired from the battle with the Xian Immortal. I need to return to the divine world to recuperate," Meng Sansheng said. "Holy Lord is right. What is the archaic mysteries sect? Holy Lord is someone who can kill Xian Immortals. Once Jing Ting leaves, Holy Lord will be the strongest in the mortal realm." That Yao Tianshang took advantage of the situation. Ren Rat complained. Meng Sansheng frowned and thought for a while before saying, "Archaic mysteries sect? This time, all the heroes of the world have gathered. Ninth Rat, go and take a look for me." Me?" Ren Rat exclaimed. He looked unwilling. "Yes, you." Meng Sansheng's face darkened. Okay, Ren Rat said gloomily. Swish. Meng Sansheng threw Ren Rat out. Meng Sansheng quickly left with Meng Hongying, leaving Ren Rat to look into the distance. Seeing Meng Sansheng leave, Ren Rat said sadly, "Why was I so stupid to agree to join the archaic mysteries sect for 1,000 years? I was so happy in the past. I dug up other people's ancestral graves, stole their treasuries, and destroyed their descendants. Now, for the sake of the archaic mysteries sect, I have to rush to my death. Alas, I only have one life. Ret shook his head and sighed. Forget it. I don't have many years left. Once the time is up, I will be free. When that time comes, I will return to the immortal world. Damn it. I found an ancient great god's grave last time. I hope no one finds it. Chapter 976. Atlas Studios North Divine, Continent Yin Chuan, Lu Jin, and Bai Detian landed on the peak of a mountain. In front of them was a thick fog that covered an extremely wide area. The fog had many colors: purple, white, green, and green. It made the sea of fog look extremely dazzling and colorful. This is the archaic mysteries sect? Lu Jin frowned and asked. Don't underestimate this sea of fog. It is actually an extremely powerful fate array. Bai Detian explained. Fate array. Lu Jin didn't understand. 1 is fate, 2 is fate, 3 is feng shui, 4 is yin virtue, and 5 is merit. The archaic mysteries sect cultivates fate. It is said that they have a deep understanding of fate. Their array can even directly connect to fate. Their array is known as the fate array. The archaic mysteries sect is the only sect in the world that cultivates fate. Their requirements for selecting disciples are even stricter than feng shui masters. Feng shui masters only look at the conditions of the current life, but fate cultivators have to compete for 3 lifetimes. They have to have a specific birthday and a specific bone structure. Not a single one can be missing. Bai Detian explained. Compete for 3 lifetimes? Lu Jin was shocked. Of course, no one is so powerful that they can predict the past. However, legend has it that there is a world tree in the celestial world. The world tree has existed since the world was formed. The world tree has experienced everything in the world and also recorded everything in the world. Fate cultivators only need to borrow a branch from the world tree to predict many things in the past. Every disciple that cultivates fate cultivators are selected through the world tree's branches. Bai Detian explained. World tree. Lu Jin was shocked. Can a world tree really predict the past life? Yin Chuan looked at Bai Detian. Bai Detian nodded and said, yes. In my previous life, I met the sect leader of the archaic mysteries sect. By chance, he helped me predict some things. Although it wasn't comprehensive, it still benefited me greatly. The archaic mysteries sect has a branch from the world tree? Yin Chuan was shocked. Even in his previous life, he had only heard about it. It was said that in the celestial world, the world tree was protected by all the heroes of the world. Anyone who dared to break its branches would be punished by all the celestial world. Yes, the celestial arcanum sect has one. However, I have to hold it with my hand before it can help me deduce the future. This is the celestial arcanum sect head's token of inheritance. It is the celestial arcanum sect's most important treasure. It can help me deduce the situation in my previous life. Bai Detian nodded with certainty. Furthermore, Bai Detian condensed his dermic powers, and an illusion appeared in Bai Detian's palm. It was a yellow wooden stake that was as thick as an arm. It was filled with runes. Yin Chuan and Lu Jin widened their eyes in bewilderment. This is the branch of the world tree, the number 1 treasure of the celestial arcanum sect. Bai Detian said proudly. Yin Chuan and Lu Jin were still at a loss. Is this the branch of the world tree? Yin Chuan asked with a strange tone. Yeah, I can't be wrong. It's the celestial arcanum sect head's keepsake. Bai Detian nodded with certainty. Yin Chuan and Lu Jin were silent for a while. Everyone was silent. Your Majesty, what's wrong? Bai Detian asked in confusion. Finally, Yin Chuan nodded at Lu Jin. Lu Jin casually took out a yellow wooden stake from her interspatial artifact. The runes on the wooden stake were exactly the same as the one that Bai Detian had condensed using his dermic powers. Bai Detian, oh, it was too fake. Bai Detian really wanted to say that it was fake. However, in this short moment, there was no time for Lu Jin to make a fake. It was exactly the same. The number 1 treasure of the celestial arcanum sect? The branch of the world tree? Why was it in Lu Jin's hands? How is this possible? Chapter 977. By Detian felt honored that he was the only person who had seen the branch of the world tree. But now Lu Jin took one out like a radish. How can this be? How did this come about? Bai Detian exclaimed. One of the things my parents left behind for me. Yin Chuan explained. Things left behind? Back then, Yin Tao had left behind 3 things for Yin Chuan. One was a map, which allowed him to find the Holy Light Stone and forge the God Sword. Now, the second thing was the Celestial Mysteries Sect Leader's token. Things left behind? Bai Detian was slightly confused. Was this a joke? The Celestial Mysteries Sect Leader's token was the lifeblood of the Celestial Mysteries Sect. How could it be in Yin Tao's hands? Looking at Bai Detian's complicated gaze, Yin Chuan said, Lu Jin, let Bai Detian take a look. It's nothing much. Oh. Lu Jin handed it over. Bai Detian received it carefully, his entire body petrified. Amidst the endless colorful fog, there was a huge palace. Inside the palace, a white-haired elder sat cross-legged as if he was in seclusion. Suddenly, the elder raised his eyebrows and opened his eyes, revealing an extremely shocked expression. Whoosh! The elder suddenly stood up. Quang! The door to the palace opened. Another 3 white-haired elders hurried in. Senior brother, can you feel it? The 3 old men asked excitedly. That's right. It's the Celestial Mysteries Sect Leader's token. The previous sect leader had fallen, and the whereabouts of our World Tree branch were unknown. We sent so many people to search for it and calculated for so many years, but to no avail. It actually appeared near our Celestial Mysteries sect. Let's go. The leading elder rushed out of the palace excitedly. The other 3 elders also rushed out excitedly and flew into the depths of the fog. At this moment, not only did the 4 elders feel it, but about 100 people in the Celestial Mysteries sect also felt it. They all flew into the sky excitedly, including Heavenly Lady Zhao Afang. Bai Detian grabbed the World Tree's branch and inspected it in a daze. Lu Jin looked at Yin Chuan and said, Your Majesty, aren't we here too early? There are still a few months before it starts. Yin Chuan shook his head lightly and said, It's not early. We still have things to do. Yes. Lu Jin nodded. After saying that, the 2 of them looked at Bai Detian. Bai Detian, how is it? Is this true? Yin Chuan asked. It's true, it's definitely true. Bai Detian said in confusion. As long as it's a branch of the World Tree. Yin Chuan smiled. Boom! Suddenly, the fog not far away shook, and in the blink of an eye, over 100 figures suddenly appeared in front of Yin Chuan's group. Almost everyone turned their gazes to Bai Detian's hands after looking at the 3 of them for a while. Is it really a world branch? The leading old man asked excitedly. The group of elders at the front looked very excited. It was as if they couldn't wait to snatch it. Bai Detian's expression changed, and he immediately kept the world branch. Bai Detian knew that this was definitely the Celestial Mysteries Sect's token, but he wasn't a good person. Now, this world branch belonged to Yin Chuan. Naturally, he had to protect it well. However, Yin Chuan looked at Heavenly Lady Zhao Afang. He was very excited. Bai Detian, long time no see. The leading old man immediately smiled politely. Bai Detian smiled and said, Greetings to the Celestial Mysteries Sect Leader. Bai Detian, in your hand. The leading old man said excitedly, but he was interrupted by Bai Detian. Chapter 978. This item in my hand belongs to him. It's the private property of the great Zhun Emperor. Bai Detian said immediately. The moment Bai Detian said this, the leading elder instantly understood and immediately looked at Yin Chuan. I'm the current sect master of the Archaic Mysteries sect, Yin Xin. Greetings, Yin Di. The old man said politely. Clearly, he had seen Yin Chuan's portrait and recognized him immediately. I've heard a lot about the Archaic Mysteries sect. Sect Master Yin, you're too polite. Yin Chuan smiled. The old man smiled and asked, Yin Di, where did you get the item in Bai Detian's hand? Yin Chuan looked at the world branch and smiled. It's something my father left behind. Left behind? The Archaic Mysteries sect disciples frowned. How did your father get this item? Yin Xian asked again. My father picked it up and brought it here. Yin Chuan smiled. Picked it up? Yin Xian and the others frowned again. How were they supposed to continue asking? Yin Chuan obviously wouldn't tell them the truth. Seeing how troubled they were, Yin Chuan smiled. Indeed, this item is called the World Branch. It's a keepsake of the sect master of the Archaic Mysteries sect. It belonged to the previous sect master, Yin Xian said immediately. Sect master Yin, you've misunderstood. It's mine, not the Archaic Mysteries sects. Yin Chuan interrupted. How dare you? That belongs to the Archaic Mysteries sect. You thieves! The disciples behind Yin Xian shouted angrily. Yin Chuan's face turned cold. Yin Xian waved her hand and stopped them from shouting. She turned around and said, Yin Di, please don't blame me for not disciplining them well. Only then did Yin Chuan's expression soften. Yin Di, only fate stealers like us can use this item. Others can't use it at all. Yin Xian said again. Yin Chuan smiled. I like collecting. Sect Master Yin, please don't think about it. Don't think about it? How is that possible? Indeed, this is indeed the world branch of my Archaic Mysteries sect. Bai Diqian could testify. It was accidentally lost by the previous Celestial Arcanum sect head. The old man smiled bitterly. Yin Chuan nodded his head and said, I understand, and I also believe in it. However, the Celestial Arcanum sect was lost in the end. It's like you accidentally found an immortal equipment in a desolate mountain forest. Would you find the descendant of the owner of the immortal equipment and give it to him? Are all of you so noble? Everyone. Yin Xian smiled bitterly. Yama Emperor, this world's branch is extremely important to my Heaven's Mysteries sect, so please accept it. Of course, if there's anything you need, as long as it doesn't go against the beliefs and principles of my Heaven's Mysteries sect, we will do our best to satisfy you. Everyone looked at Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan was silent for a moment. Finally, he took a deep breath and nodded. It's not that I can't give the world branch to the Archaic Arcanum sect, but as long as you agree to my two conditions, I'll give you the world branch with both hands. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said. Everyone was overjoyed. There's one thing I have to ask for your forgiveness. My Heaven's God creation plan cannot be compromised because of this. Yin Xian said with a frown. Don't worry, I won't go against your beliefs and principles. Yin Chuan nodded. Yin Di is righteous. Yin Xian smiled. First, I hope that before the God creation plan starts, I can stay near the Heavenly Lady and have her sit and discuss the Tao with me for a few months. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Sit and discuss the Tao. Everyone looked at Yin Chuan in confusion. Yes, I won't harass the Heavenly Lady. I just want her to listen to some stories. Even if it's just for 2 hours a day, it's fine. Yin Chuan looked at the Heavenly Lady and said, Stories. The Fate Usurpers. Chapter 979. Tell stories? The Fate Usurpers looked at Yin Chuan blankly. What kind of condition was that? Listen to your stories for a few months? The Fate Usurpers became excited again. Then they looked at Zhao Afong. Holy Maiden, the branch of the world is no small matter. You know that even in the immortal world, our Archaic Arcanum sect only has a few branches. Yin Xian looked at Zhao Afong expectantly. Zhao Afong was silent for a while, then finally nodded under everyone's expectant gaze. All right, thank you, Holy Maiden, Yin Xian said excitedly. Yin Chuan, on the other hand, smiled in satisfaction. Yin Di, the Holy Maiden has already agreed to the first condition. Tell us the second one. Yin Xian said again. I haven't thought of the second condition yet. Can you let me think about it? Yin Chuan smiled. Oh, the Fate Usurpers raised their eyebrows. Of course, before the God creation plan starts, I will definitely say it. And at that time, I will hand over the branch of the world with both hands. Yin Chuan smiled. The Fate Usurpers frowned. In the end, they nodded. Several days later, in the Sea of Fog, in an extremely exquisite pavilion, on a balcony of the pavilion, several maids were waiting on a jade table in the center. Yin Chuan and Zhao Afong were drinking tea. Yin Di, I've already said that I'm not Jinro, and I've also gained enlightenment about my previous life. I know who my previous life was, and I'm definitely not Jinro, Zhao Afong said as he drank tea. Yin Chuan smiled and said, Do you know, although you can't see, your clear appearance is exactly the same as Jinro's back then. Zhao Afong frowned. Don't worry, I won't force you to admit it. I just want to tell you how I met Jinro during this time. Yin Chuan smiled. Only then did Zhao Afong relax. Do I look like Jinro? Zhao Afong asked curiously. Dongfang Zhongpai has already told me that you used mind reading on me, right? Yin Chuan smiled. Zhao Afong frowned. Apparently, he did not expect Dongfang Zhongpai to betray him. But in the end, he nodded and said, That's right. That day, I saw that you were chasing me in a hurry and spread news about me everywhere. So, I came back to find you. But at that time, you were already unconscious, so I had no choice. Seeing Zhao Afong's guilt, Yin Chuan did not blame him. If you can see Jinro's appearance in my heart, then you will know that your appearance is exactly the same. Even the number and position of your eyebrows are exactly the same. Is there really such a thing in the world? Zhao Afong asked in surprise. Zhao Afong didn't believe that she was Jinro, but Yin Chuan firmly believed that she was Jinro. As the two of them chatted, Yin Chuan began to describe everything about Jinro from the beginning. Just like that, Yin Chuan began to talk about everything about Jinro every day. Every day, he would talk about different things. It was as if as long as Yin Chuan spoke, there would be endless stories. East Divine Continent, Jiulu Academy. At the entrance to the Radiant World, Meng Lingtian looked at the blue-robed man in front of him. Sima Yuntian. It was Sima Yuntian, who had competed with Yin Chuan in the Investiture of the Gods during the Heavenly Bestowment Conference. At this moment, 72 disciples stood behind Sima Yuntian. Compared to decades ago, each of them was much more refined, and their auras were much more stable. Sima Yuntian was still as heroic as before. Just this aura alone was like a sharp blade that could cut through all obstacles. He was incomparably domineering as he coldly looked at Meng Lingtian. Chapter 980. Dongfang Zhongpai stood at the side. Old Meng, I've found Sima Yuntian. Haha, Old Meng, don't stop me now. Dongfang Zhongpai said excitedly. Meng Lingtian looked at Dongfang Zhongpai and smiled bitterly. Finally, he nodded. Forget it. Rottenwood can't be carved. I won't care about you anymore. Oh, Old Meng, today I realize that you're really too kind. Your words are like the sun, warming my heart and lungs. Dongfang Zhongpai said in a mushy manner. Meng Lingtian's face twitched. Finally, he said, Shut up. If you continue, go back and copy books. Dongfang Zhongpai's face turned serious. It was as if he hadn't spoken at all. Meng Lingtian? Sima Yuntian frowned at the Immortal in front of him. The 72 disciples behind him also looked at the Immortal in front of them in shock. Sima Yuntian, we finally meet. Your literary style is amazing. Even I can't compare to you, Meng Lingtian exclaimed. Sima Yuntian smiled and said confidently, Meng Lingtian, you didn't call me back just to say this, right? Of course not. Meng Lingtian shook his head. Oh, back then, the founder, Dongfang Bai, found your ancestor somewhere and asked the Jiulu Academy to take care of the Sima descendants. At the same time, he left you a secret letter from your ancestor. Meng Lingtian said. My ancestor's secret letter? Ha! Sima Yuntian said in disbelief. How could his ancestor know about him? I know you don't believe me and have a grudge against the Jiulu Academy. However, although the Jiulu Academy restricted you, they still taught you everything about the Sima family. Furthermore, the founder said that after reading your ancestor's letter, your grudge will disappear. Meng Lingtian said, Haha, my ancestor wrote a letter to me? How do you expect me to believe that? Sima Yuntian said, Your Sima family has always been the sole heir. The founder left a message in the Radiant World. When it's the 49th generation of the Sima family, he can leave it to you. Meng Lingtian said. Meng Lingtian took out a jade box. Looking at the box, Sima Yuntian felt a connection with it. How could this be? This jade box can only be opened with the blood and will of a Sima family disciple. Outsiders can't open it at all. Meng Lingtian laughed. Sima Yuntian frowned. He no longer looked at the jade box, but at Meng Lingtian. Since it was left to me by my ancestor, you should have given it to me a long time ago, but you delayed it until now. Are you going to use it to return the terms to me? Sima Yuntian asked solemnly. Meng Lingtian nodded his head in satisfaction. Sima Yuntian, you are indeed worthy of being Julu Academy's #1 mortal sage. Sima Yuntian looked at Meng Lingtian with rapt attention. The world is about to fall into chaos. The Northern Celestial Arcanum sect can also see that a huge storm is about to engulf the entire sealed world. A great calamity is about to befall this world. Meng Lingtian said in a deep voice. Great tribulation? Sima Yuntian narrowed his eyes. Yes, the great calamity. Under the great calamity, the archaic Arcanum sect, the Julu Academy, the archaic sects, the sacred grounds, and many other powerful sects will all be annihilated. Meng Lingtian took a deep breath and said, Oh, Sima Yuntian was surprised. If my Julu Academy wants to pass through this calamity, we must plan thoroughly. I have thought about it for a long time. The Julu Academy should focus on defending the East Divine Continent. With me in charge of the Julu Academy, I hope that you can represent the Julu Academy and enter the Great Jin Empire. Everything should be done with the Julu Academy first, Meng Lingtian said solemnly. Chapter 981. Haha, enter the Dajin Empire? You want me to be a spy? Sima Yuntian showed a trace of disdain. Something like that. The Great Jin Empire is rather strange. Although I'm not afraid of it, I'm not willing to destroy it. This is because the stronger the sect, the more likely it is to control the fate of the East Divine Continent. Meng Lingtian said solemnly. I remember that Meng Wenruo is your grandson. Isn't he in the Dajin Empire? Sima Yuntian sneered. Yes, but Meng Wenruo is not comparable to Yin Chuan. Moreover, Meng Wenruo's heart is with the Dajin Empire. Meng Lingtian shook his head. Sima Yuntian sneered and did not say anything else. I will try my best to get you the position of Prime Minister in the Dajin Empire. How about that? Meng Lingtian smiled. Prime Minister? Such a high position? What does that have to do with me? Sima Yuntian sneered. That's the condition. I can show you the jade box. You can tell me if the letter is worth the price after you read it. How about that? Meng Lingtian smiled. Sima Yuntian narrowed his eyes. He took the jade box calmly. Looking at the restriction on it, it was true that this restriction required his blood and will to be activated. He forced out a trace of essence blood and dyed the seal red. At the same time, he sent his consciousness into the jade box, and it shook violently. Whoosh! The jade box opened. Is this really left behind by my ancestor? Sima Yuntian looked at it in shock. This was because something that required essence blood and could only be refined by an ancestor of the same bloodline. There was a letter in the jade box. Sima Yuntian took it out. Meng Lingtian looked at the letter curiously, but Sima Yuntian did not show it to him. Sima Yuntian kept the jade box and looked at the letter. The words to Sima Yuntian were written on the cover. This is my handwriting? My own handwriting? Sima Yuntian's expression changed. Oh, Meng Lingtian looked at it curiously. Sima Yuntian's eyes flickered, but he opened it in the end. At the same time, he cast a spell and formed a green mist around him to prevent others from seeing the contents of the letter. When he opened the letter, Sima Yuntian was shocked. I have a special hobby. No matter what I write, when I write the fourth word, I will leave a mark that no one will notice. But the letter in front of him had it as well. Sima Yuntian frowned as he read. 49th generation? Haha. To be more precise, you should be the 49th reincarnation of my current state. In your generation, I should have reincarnated 81 times. Don't doubt it. I am you, and you are me. The Sima clan has only one heir in every generation, and when the only heir is born, the elders don't have long to live. This was inevitable, because after so many generations, it was actually me who was reincarnating. When my son was born and had enough memories, the father would die, and the power of the soul would accumulate in my son's body. I am a special case because in my first life, I put a strange curse on myself. In this life, I am a fate usurper. I have divined many things, but it is still not comprehensive enough. I deduced that I had an extremely powerful first life. But I have an even stronger enemy, and I am also waiting for an extremely important person. Actually, my surname is not Seema, and your surname is not Seema either. We just used a fake surname to blend into the masses. According to my calculations, in my 81st life, I will meet the person I am waiting for. I don't know who I am waiting for, but you will know when the time comes. Also, remember from the first life, we did not believe in Seema. I have divined that our first life was surnamed Li Si. I am Li Si, and you are Li Si. The contents of the letter were very long, but when he read till here, Simeon was stunned. Who is Li Si? How did I become Li Si? Chapter 982. North Divine Continent. Not far from the archaic mysteries sect, a stream of light flashed across the west. Rumbling sounds could be heard as more than 300 draconic horses pulled a group of experts over. One of them was the dignified Kong Mok, and the other was the dean of the Western Confucius Academy, Kong Daoqiu. Kong Mok was clad in golden chainmail, and he looked extremely mighty. On the other hand, Kong Daoqiu was clad in white and exuded a faint aura of righteousness. Although he looked calm, there was a hint of ruthlessness in his eyes. Stop! Kong Mok bellowed. The 300 draconic horses suddenly stopped at the peak of a mountain. Kong Mok and Kong Daoqiu landed on a mountain peak. There are still 2 months before it starts. I'll go find an XIN first. It's been a long time since we played chess. I'll help you ask about the situation. Kong Daoqiu said lightly. Kong Mok nodded and said, All right, I have some personal matters to attend to. The two separated, and Kong Daoqiu headed straight for the archaic mysteries sect. Kong Mok and the rest of his men turned their horses around and rode in another direction. 10 days later, not far from the archaic mysteries sect, in a valley, Ninth Rat was lying on a deck chair with a palm leaf fan in his hand. In front of him was a large group of rats that he had just summoned. Although Ninth Rat had just entered the upper emptiness realm, he was extremely sensitive to news due to his fearful nature. As he lay down leisurely, the large group of rats in front of him quickly reported to him what had happened. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Thousands of rats kept reporting to this ancestor of unknown origin what they had seen during this period of time. Ninth Rat fanned himself with his palm leaf fan while pinching the rat's beard. His eyes kept darting around. Wait, you said that a group of monks were guarding a valley outside the Ning Shui Palace and killed a large number of your descendants? Ninth Rat suddenly pointed at a large rat and asked. The rat seemed to have some experience and immediately nodded. Monks? The North Divine Continent doesn't produce monks. Could it be the 1,000 Buddhas' holy ground? And the Ning Shui Palace? The palace master of the condensed jade palace, Ma Daoquan, seems to have a blood feud with the 10,000 Buddhas' holy land. Ren Rat's expression changed. The rat jumped up and down and kept telling the rat about the valley. Ren Rat's eyes gradually came to life. You said that the valley is radiating golden light? Could it be a treasure? That's right, I don't want to participate in that bullshit God creation plan anyway. There's still nearly 2 months left, so I might as well go and take a look. Who knows? I might even be able to steal something while I'm at it. Kakik. Ren Rat jumped up from the recliner. With a wave of his hand, he chased away the group of rats, leaving only the rat that had discovered the monk. After tidying up a bit, Ren Rat said, Let's go. I'll go with you to take a look. 2 hours later, outside a valley, there were 10 bald monks standing outside. They stood guard in all directions, not allowing any living beings to approach. Furthermore, the entire valley was enveloped by a large number of formations, isolating it from the outside world. In a distant mountain forest, Ninth rat pinched its whiskers as its expression flickered. Sure enough, there is a situation. However, this formation is not a problem for my rat race. When I reach the legendary realm, I can even drill a hole in the sky, let alone this lousy formation. Ninth rat laughed. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The rat that was leading the way squeaked. Chapter 983. And not bad. This spirit stone is for you. Go. Ninth rat tossed a spirit stone to the little rat and chased it away. The little rat thanked him profusely. Ninth rat glanced at it and dived into the ground, drilling into the valley. Perhaps it was due to its innate talent. Ninth rat drilled into the array without any abnormalities. Ninth rat continued to drill into the depths of the valley. Finally, Ninth rat drilled into a bush in the valley and revealed a hole. Ninth rat looked inside. There was a waterfall in the valley, and the water was deep and serene. The environment was extremely beautiful. Beside the waterfall was a huge pavilion. There were close to 300 people surrounding the pavilion. In the pavilion, Kong Mok sat on the main seat, and a group of subordinates stood behind him. There were soldiers, scholars, and even monks. Sitting beside Kong Mok was a man in a green robe. Ma Daokoan of Ning Shui Palace? Didn't Kong Mok kill Ma Daokoan's son? Don't the two of them have an irreconcilable enmity? Ninth rat looked at the scene in front of him in shock. Ma Daokoan, you've said so much. In short, you've worked hard these past few years. Kong Mok smiled. Many thanks for your majesty's kindness. This subject has been undercover in the North Divine Continent all these years, waiting for your majesty's great cause so that I can respond to your majesty and contribute to your majesty's unification of the world. Ma Daokoan smiled. Ha ha ha, you've done well. This emperor is about to unify the world, and your Ning Shui Palace has established a foothold in the North Divine Continent. You'll definitely be able to help this emperor. You'll be the main contributor to the conquest of the North Divine Continent. Kong Mok laughed. Many thanks, your majesty. Ma Daokoan smiled. This time, many heroes have gathered here. This emperor needs to subdue a group of true heroes. Do you have any information on them? Kong Mok asked solemnly. Time is tight, so I can't collect much. Moreover, many heroes are still on the way. Ma Daokoan frowned. No matter, you don't need to collect. This emperor brought over 300 subjects here. Naturally, this emperor is not here for sightseeing. What you need to do now is to help this emperor win the competition and subdue the Celestial Arcanum sect. This is the most important task. Kong Mok said solemnly. Yes, Ma Daokoan. In the distance, Ninth Rat, who was peeking out from the bushes, opened its mouth in shock. Ma Daokoan is a chess piece sent by Kong Mok to the Northern Divine Continent. Not an enemy? Rin Rat looked at this scene in surprise. Who's there? Kong Mo's eyes narrowed, and he reached out to grab Huang Xiaolong. A huge golden claw appeared in the void and smashed into where Ninth Rat was. Ninth Rat screamed miserably and went underground. Boom! A huge crater appeared on the ground. There was also a pool of blood. However, the Ninth Rat was nowhere to be seen. A group of experts immediately gathered around. Earth escape. The faces of the cultivators darkened. Earth escape was not something that all Xiozha could do. Although Kong Mok was strong, he was not good at earth escape. Amateus Buddha, a monk behind Kong Mok shouted. Prophet Buddha, you have collected the information of heaven and earth. Where did that thief escape to? Kong Mok shouted. Your Majesty, he went east, and he escaped very quickly. Just now, your Majesty's claw injured him. I believe that his cultivation is not something to be afraid of. Your Majesty does not need to worry. This subject will go and handle this matter for your Majesty. Prophet Buddha said, and Kong Mok nodded. Prophet Buddha flicked his kasaya and rushed to the sky, flying towards the east. Chapter 984. 3 days later, somewhere in the forest. Boom! A large number of rocks were sent flying as Prophet Buddha stepped on Ninth Rat's shoulder with a black Buddhist commandment blade in his hand. Cough, cough, don't do it. I am the temple master of the divine sect Holy Land. Ninth, Rat immediately begged for mercy. Prophet Buddha frowned slightly. You're a ninth rat? Prophet Buddha asked in surprise. Letting go of ninth rat, Prophet Buddha said in a deep voice, Temple Master Ninth, you have good means. Your unique skill in digging holes is unparalleled in the world. There were a few times when I almost lost you with my heaven and earth scavenger. Ninth rat covered his thigh where blood was flowing out and quickly treated it. Damn it, if it weren't for Kong Mok, that son of a bitch, how could you find me? Ninth rat was depressed. Prophet Buddha naturally didn't know what ninth rat was thinking, but he was in a difficult situation. If he didn't know ninth rat, he could just kill him and report back. But now, he had to consider the divine sect Holy Land. Prophet Buddha's eyes turned, and he suddenly smiled. Ninth rat, what do you think of my 1,000 Buddha Holy Land? 1,000 Buddha Holy Land? What's wrong? Isn't it the same as the divine sect Holy Land? Ninth rat endured the pain and frowned. Yes, it's the same. I remember that you just joined the divine sect Holy Land not long ago. The temple masters of the divine sect Holy Land are free to come and go. I see that you have a deep affinity with Buddhism and fate with my 1,000 Buddha Holy Land. Prophet Buddha said with a smile. Me? Fate with Buddhism? Ninth rat was surprised. At the same time, a strange thought appeared in his mind. Fate my ass. I have dug dozens of Buddha's graves. Yes, why don't you join my 1,000 Buddha Holy Land? I can guarantee that the Holy Lord will agree to let you enjoy the Buddha karmic rank. Prophet Buddha said with a smile. What kind of joke is this? Go to your 1,000 Buddha Holy Land and be a bachelor? I still want to build a large harem. Ninth, rat immediately refused. Fellow Taoist Ninth, you are the leader of all evil. Prophet Buddha advised. Ninth, rat, holding his injured balls, Hydra Rat wished he could slap the Prophet Buddha who was afraid of death. If you don't join my 10,000 Buddhas holy ground, I won't be able to answer to the great Buddha Emperor. It would be a great pity if fellow Taoist Run were to perish here in this wilderness. In fact, the great Buddha Emperor quite admires your ability to escape through the earth. The Prophet Buddha said slowly. This was a threat to Ninth Rat. If they didn't submit to the 10,000 Buddhas holy ground, they would die. Rin Rat's face twitched, and he shouted, I don't want to be a monk. If I join the great Buddha imperial dynasty, can I marry and have children? Ha ha ha, fellow Taoist Rin, you are indeed an outstanding person. Let's go. I will bring you to meet His Majesty. The Prophet Buddha immediately said with satisfaction, Wait a moment. My injuries are too severe. I need to be treated immediately. If there are any sequelae, it would be terrible. Ninth, Rat tried to delay. All right. Prophet Buddha waited for Ninth Rat to heal. Half a day later, while Ninth Rat was recuperating, he was also trying to get close to Prophet Buddha. In the blink of an eye, the two of them were talking about everything. Is it done? Prophet Buddha asked with a frown. Lead the way. Run Rat shouted. Ha, good. Prophet Buddha flew up and led the way for Ninth Rat. Boom! A loud sound came from underground. Ninth Rat dug a hole and escaped again. Prophet Buddha was stunned. Bastard, you dare to lie to me? Prophet Buddha shouted angrily. Deep underground, Ninth Rat was digging a hole and escaping while cursing. Lie to your grandmother. You almost killed me, and now you want me to submit? Wait until I recover. I will definitely teach you a lesson. I have never suffered such a great loss before. Damn it, I will pay you back 10 times. Ouch. Ninth Rat was still digging a hole in the ground in pain. Chapter 985. Naibo Studio Naibo, Studio Celestial Arcanum Sect, Misty Sea, Fairy Palace. Yin Chuan, Lu Jin, and Bai Ditian were staying in the side halls of the Fairy Palace. In one of the halls, Yin Chuan was receiving a special guest. A guest who was looking for him. Dong Fong Zhenpai. Yin Chuan did not summon Lu Jin and Bai Ditian. Instead, he looked at the chubby Dong Fong Zhenpai with amusement. The two of them were drinking tea. This tea tastes terrible. However, it contains a lot of yuan qi. Dongfang Zhongpai frowned as he looked at the tea. Everyone likes it. However, I am curious. How did you find me? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Elder Meng, Meng Ling Tian, brought me and Sima Yun Tian here. We were at the main hall of the Celestial Arcanum sect when we found out that you were here. The others were playing chess with sect leader Yun and were talking nonsense. I was bored and decided to look for you. Dongfang Zhongpai said. Oh, Meng Ling Tian, Sima Yun Tian? Why are they here? Yin Chuan frowned. This has something to do with you. Dongfang Zhongpai laughed. Don't tell me you're helping Meng Ling Tian to persuade him? Yin Chuan took a sip of tea and laughed. Aha, you can tell. Even if you can, I am just a scout. You can decide for yourself if you are willing. Dongfang Zhongpai laughed. Oh, it's like this. Some time ago, Meng Ling Tian persuaded Sima Yun Tian to enter your Great Jun. Of course, Elder Meng has his own motives. He hopes that Sima Yun Tian can enter your Great Jun and take care of the Julu Academy. It seems like there's going to be a great calamity. Dongfang Zhongpai did not hide anything from Yin Chuan. Great calamity? Yin Chuan's expression changed. What do you think? Dongfang Zhongpai asked. Haha, Sima Yun Tian entering the Great Jun Empire? No matter what the reason is, I can't wait. Yin Chuan laughed. Aren't you worried about Sima Yun Tian's motive for coming here? Dongfang Zhongpai asked. This is not what I should be worried about. On the contrary, this should be what Meng Ling Tian should be worried about. Yin Chuan smiled. Dongfang Zhongpai was even more confused. You're not worried? That's exactly what I want. Why should I be worried? Meng Ling Tian also said that he would do his best to cooperate with Sima Yun Tian so that he could become the Prime Minister of Dezhun as soon as possible. Prime Minister? Dongfang Zhongpai said. Prime Minister? According to the rules and regulations of the Great Jin Empire, one must have great achievements to become the Prime Minister. If that's the case, what's wrong with giving him the position of Prime Minister? Yin Chuan said with a smile. Dongfang Zhongpai, why aren't you worried at all? Dongfang Zhongpai didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Originally, he thought that Yin Chuan would use all kinds of words to push and shove, but why did it seem like he was about to snatch it? Even if Sima Yun Tian didn't come to me, I would have gone to him. Our Great Jin Empire is thirsty for talents. Now that there's a virtuous paragon willing to accept the position, how could I reject him? Yin Chuan smiled. All right. Anyway, I've done what I came to do. All right. I heard Sima Yun Tian mention that he wants to change his name. To enter the Great Jun Empire, he wants to change his name along with his surname. How strange. Dongfang Zhongpai drank a mouthful of water and said, Change his name? Yin Chuan asked curiously. Change it to Li Si. I don't know anything else. Dongfang Zhongpai shook his head. Li Si? This name? Yin Chuan suddenly frowned and pondered. Chapter 986. Yin Chuan closed his eyes as if he was trying to capture that fleeting feeling. What's wrong? Dongfang Zhongpai asked. Nothing. I just feel that the name sounds familiar. But I've never heard of it before. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Oh, Dongfang Zhongpai did not think much of it. All right. Dongfang Zhongpai's eyes lit up. Why don't I join Great Jun? Dongfang Zhongpai's eyes lit up. You? Yin Chuan was surprised. Yes, of course. Based on our relationship, don't work for me. It's best if you don't do anything. Of course, I won't join you. I'll be a junior if I join you. Dongfang Zhongpai exclaimed. Yin Chuan, don't do anything and still get a salary in Providence? Don't even worship the emperor? Do you want to support the emperor? Really? Really? Dongfang Zhongpai asked excitedly. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. All right, I'll create a new department for you. Don't do anything. You'll get a salary in Providence. But it won't be much. That's good. Don't worry. If there's anything I can solve, just let me know and I'll do it for you. Dongfang Zhongpai said excitedly. All right. Yin Chuan nodded. All right, what's this department called? Dongfang Zhongpai asked shamelessly. Let's call it the Special Affairs Department. You'll be the head of the Special Affairs Department. Yin Chuan smiled. All right, that's interesting. All right, can I recruit subordinates? Dongfang Zhongpai asked excitedly. Sure, you could decide for yourself. Just don't recruit too many. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Of course, Yin Chuan did not care much about the Special Affairs Department. Dongfang Zhengpai had helped him a lot in the past. He would treat it as giving Dongfang Zhengpai some pocket money to return the favor. Anyway, it wouldn't cost him much spiritual stones or providence. Haha, all right. I'm the head of the Special Affairs Department of the Great Jin Empire. Is there anything you need me to help you settle? Dongfang Zhengpai said smugly. No. Yin Chuan said directly. Think about it. This is possible. Think about anything. Dongfang Zhengpai wanted to continue that sense of accomplishment. Well, I really don't. Whatever you want to do, I'll leave it up to you. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Dongfang Zhengpai. No matter what, from today onwards, the Zhen had another department, the Special Affairs Division, a department that was looking for trouble. Tianji sect, south of the Misty Sea, in a valley with dense elemental energy of heaven and earth. There were some large halls in the valley. Kong Mok was looking at the information his subordinates had gathered from all over the place. Blood Seal sect, True Self sect. Kong Mok looked at the information. Not far from Kong Mok, the Prophet Buddha felt bitter. Prophet? You're back. Kong Mok looked at Prophet Buddha and asked, Your Majesty, I'm incompetent. I let ninth rat escape. Prophet Buddha said bitterly. Ran away? If he ran away, then so be it. He's just a scoundrel. Kong Mok consoled. After all, the Prophet Buddha was one of Kong Mok's more important people. Thank you, Your Majesty. Prophet Buddha smiled bitterly. Your Majesty. An official from outside the hall entered. What's wrong? Kong Mok asked curiously. Just now, Palace Lord Ma Daoquan sent a letter. As he has to cooperate with Your Majesty, he can't come. The official handed over a letter. Chapter 987. Kong Mok read the letter. After a while, Kong Mok's pupils constricted. Yin Chuan brat. Kong Mok slammed the letter on the table. Pa! Kong Mok's eyes flashed with anger. Your Majesty, what's wrong? Prophet Buddha asked. Kong Mok handed over the letter. Prophet Buddha quickly skimmed through it. Yin Chuan. He's shameless enough to take a shortcut to the fairy palace? Prophet Buddha said in a low voice. There are two arbitrators in this selection, the archaic arcanum sect master and the fairy. Yin Chuan is shameless enough to try to win the fairy's favor, taking the shortcut? Kong Mok said coldly. Your Majesty, what are your plans? My plans? I want Yin Chuan dead. Kong Mok said coldly. Your Majesty is wise. This subject also thinks so. This Yin Chuan is growing too fast. He must be eliminated as soon as possible. Otherwise, he will become a huge threat. Even, Prophet Buddha said with a frown. Even what? Kong Mok said in a low voice. Your Majesty, do you still remember Kong Susu? Yin Chuan's mother, the woman who competed with you in the past? Prophet Buddha said. Kong Susu? So what? Kong Mok said in a low voice. Your Majesty, please forgive this subject's disrespect. The Kong family supports Your Majesty because of Kong Susu's defeat. However, that Yin Chuan is Kong Susu's flesh and blood. Half of his blood is from the Kong family. Your Majesty, this subject is worried that if Yin Chuan's performance is too outstanding, will the Kong family support for Your Majesty waver? Prophet Buddha said in a low voice. Kong Mok's mind bust. Then his eyes turned red. Pa! Kong Mok smashed the table beside him into pieces. Yin Chuan must die as soon as possible. Kong Mok said coldly. Your Majesty, once Yin Chuan convinces Zhao Afong, and I'm talking about once the archaic arcanum sect executes the god-making plan on Yin Chuan, it'll be difficult for Your Majesty to kill him. At that time, the Kong clan won't let you take action. Prophet Buddha said in a low voice. Kong Mok's breathing quickened. Get ready. Follow me immediately to kill Yin Chuan. Kong Mok said coldly. Yes. The Prophet Buddha replied. Fairy Palace. Yin Chuan once again met with the heavenly maiden alone. They sipped tea and listened to Yin Chuan reminisce. These days, although the heavenly maiden couldn't see, Her expression was warped by Yin Chuan's moving stories. Yin Chuan, your story is truly moving. Unfortunately, I am not Jinro. Zhao Afong shook his head and advised. Zhao Afong was worried that he would play the role of Jinro, so he changed the topic and told Yin Chuan to stop talking about his longing for Jinro. Yin Chuan looked at Zhao Afong and smiled bitterly. Although I know you don't have any memories of Jinro, I still want to tell you. Do you know why? Zhao Afong frowned. Because my intuition tells me that you are Jinro, Yin Chuan said with certainty. Indeed. Zhao Afong was a little angry. Yin Chuan immediately interrupted. Listen to me first. I won't force you to believe me, but this is my intuition. Please don't deny it. After saying so much, I actually have something I want to do. What is it? Zhao Afong frowned. Whether my intuition is wrong or not, it can be verified. The world branch knows best whether we were husband and wife in our previous lives. If you really want to refute my idea, let the world branch judge it. It has recorded everything in the past. I think you will use it. As long as it can verify whether we were husband and wife in our previous lives, I, Yin Chuan, will immediately turn around and leave. How about it? Yin Chuan said with a firm gaze. Chapter 988. Whether my intuition is wrong or not, it can be verified. The branch of the world knows best whether we were husband and wife in our past lives. If you really want to refute my idea, let the branch of the world decide. It has recorded everything in the past. I believe you will use it. As long as it can verify whether we were husband and wife in our past lives, I, Yin Chuan, will immediately turn around and leave. How about it? Yin Chuan said with a firm gaze. Looking at the branch of the world that Yin Chuan handed over, Zhao Afong frowned deeply. The atmosphere suddenly froze, and Zhao Afong fell silent. Yes, as long as the branch of the world investigated, the truth would be revealed. But at this moment, Zhao Afong hesitated. After interacting with Yin Chuan, Zhao Afong had mixed feelings. At this moment, Zhao Afong did not know what he was thinking. Did he hope that Yin Chuan was right, or that Yin Chuan was wrong? You are the life usurper. Use the branch of the world. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said. Zhao Afong clenched his fist and trembled, but in the end, he did not accept it. Do you know? Zhao Afong suddenly recalled. What? I actually came from the Immortal realm. The Immortal realm also has a celestial arcanum sect. This is just a branch. Zhao Afong took a deep breath and said. So what? Yin Chuan did not care. Zhao Afong smiled bitterly and said, I reincarnated with the memories of my past life. In my past life, I was a disciple of the Celestial Arcanum sect in the Immortal realm. That is why I could reach my current level in such a short time. Moreover, once the God Creation Project begins, I will return. Yin Chuan frowned. These days, you have told me these stories. Actually, I already knew that your past life did not belong to this world. You should have reincarnated from the Immortal realm. Zhao Afong asked. Does it matter? Yin Chuan frowned. Zhao Afong shook his head and said, Yes, but the conditions for the God-making plan are harsh. The Celestial Arcanum sect of this world, for the sake of their stubbornness, can only support the primordial bloodline and soul of this world. In other words, even if your soul is from the celestial world, you are not qualified to participate in the God-making plan, even if you have the bloodline of this world. Oh, I don't really care about their God creation project, but if you use the world tree to infer that your soul came from the world of immortals, you will no longer have the right to participate in the God creation project. Yin Xin will discover it very soon, Zhao Afong said solemnly. Yin Chuan raised his eyebrows. If you persist, you will lose a great help, Zhao Afong said solemnly. At this point, Yin Chuan, who was standing by the side, laughed. What are you laughing at? Zhao Afong frowned. I'm happy because I realize that you're starting to believe me. You're starting to believe that you're Jinro. Yin Chuan said, gratified. You. Zhao Afong raised his eyebrows in irritation. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said, I understand what you're saying, but so what? I, Yin Chuan, am not going to compromise for a God creation project. I still insist. I hope that you can activate this world tree and prove what I said. Zhao Afong fell silent again. Zhao Afong had his own beliefs. Or rather, the Celestial Arcanum sect had long instilled in Zhao Afong's mind. However, Yin Chuan's appearance had impacted this belief and even destroyed it. Zhao Afong felt extremely close to Yin Chuan during this period of time. It was an indescribable feeling, as if the thing he desired the most had appeared. Chapter 989. Use the branch of the world? If he confirmed what Yin Chuan said, he would crumble. If he could not confirm what Yin Chuan said, he would lose the desire in his heart. For a moment, Zhao Afong did not dare to take it. He shook his head. Zhao Afong fell silent. Yin Chuan seemed to have seen through Zhao Afong's misgivings. He gently put away the branch of the world and said, I can see that you have misgivings and difficulties, but I will soon prove my resolve to you. I hope that when you see my resolve, you will accept everything I say. Prove? Zhao Afong frowned. Yin Chuan smiled faintly and didn't continue on this topic. Let's not talk about Jinro. Let's talk about you. Do you have any wishes? Yin Chuan asked with a smile. Changing the topic made Zhao Afong feel much more at ease. At the very least, he had become much more open with Yin Chuan over the past few months. Wishes? My greatest wish is to see this colorful world, Zhao Afong said with a bitter smile. Oh, I can't see with my eyes. I use the mind's eye to see the world. Although I can see more clearly than others, there is no color. My world is black and white, cold and cheerless. Zhao Afong said with a bitter smile. No color? Haha. In truth, the most beautiful color is one's own emotions. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Emotions? Emotions are the creators of color. You might not have experienced it, but I believe that you will one day experience it. At that time, you will be able to see all the colors in the world. Yin Chuan consoled. Zhao Afong nodded, not quite understanding. Outside Fairy Palace, fog pervaded the air. Kong Mok led a large group of experts to the perimeter of Fairy Palace. Your Majesty, the array has been set up. Once Your Majesty gives the order, the array will activate and isolate the perimeter of Fairy Palace. No matter how great the commotion inside, it will not be able to travel out, a subject solemnly said. Kong Mok nodded. Activate the array. Let's go, Kong Mok ordered. With that, Kong Mok led the 5 experts into the Fairy Palace. The other officials around them quickly activated the array formation. Buzz. Suddenly, a formation appeared around the Fairy Palace. It was as if a transparent cover had formed around the palace. Yin Chuan, who was talking to the Holy Maiden, suddenly raised his eyebrows and looked up at the sky. Holy Maiden's expression sank. The two immediately stood up. Boom! A powerful aura shot toward the Fairy Palace. In the surrounding side halls, Bai Ditian, Lu Jin, and Dongfang Zhongpai's expressions all darkened. They quickly stepped out of the main hall and headed towards Yin Chuan. Boom! A gust of wind blew past, and 6 figures suddenly appeared in front of Yin Chuan and Zhao Afong. Kong Mok, the Prophet Buddha, and the 4 Upper Void Realm experts stared coldly at Yin Chuan. Kong Mok? Yin Chuan's face darkened. Behind him, Bai Ditian, Lu Jin, and Dongfang Zhongpai had all arrived. Little bastard, you are indeed here? This is not your great Jin Empire. There is no golden dragon of providence for you to command. Kong Mok said with a gloomy expression. Kong Mok, do you know where this is? How dare you be so impudent in my place? Zhao Afong's expression changed. Kong Mok looked at Zhao Afong and said, Holy Maiden, I will apologize to you in the future for today's actions. However, today Yin Chuan must die. How dare you? Zhao Afong immediately rebuked. Yin Chuan smiled and said, Holy Maiden, let me do it. Chapter 990. Zhao Afong frowned slightly. Yin Chuan stood in front of the Heavenly Maiden. Things were different now. How could Yin Chuan stand behind a woman and let her protect him? Kong Mok, you want to kill me? Yin Chuan smiled coldly. Kong Mok smiled coldly. That's right. You must die today. Do you think Bai Ditian can protect you? Dream on. Among the group of people here, only Bai Ditian was recognized by Kong Mok. Kong Mok knew Lu Jin. After all, he had collected a lot of information on Dejun over the years. She was just an old eunuch. How big of a commotion could she cause? Yin Chuan did not waste his breath. He stretched out his hand and attacked first. Oh no. The Buddha's expression changed. Kong Mok's expression darkened, but he did not care. Instead, he also attacked Yin Chuan with his palm. Boom! Kong Mok did not use his full strength, but Yin Chuan used a lot of strength. The power of his palm was extremely vast. Moreover, in order not to hurt the Heavenly Maiden Temple, Yin Chuan suppressed all the aftershocks in Kong Mok's direction. Boom! Kong Mok was sent flying. The Buddha, Kong Mok, who was sent flying, Kong Mok's for subordinates. Kong Mok was not injured. He was stunned by this scene. How could it be? He was at the upper void stage, while Yin Chuan was at the intermediate void stage at most. How could he be sent flying? He originally thought he could kill Yin Chuan by stretching out his hand, but he was sent flying? Kill! Yin Chuan ordered and charged towards Kong Mok. Boom! Lu Jin's horsetail whisk suddenly swung out at an upper void stage cultivator who was still in a daze. Bai Ditian, on the other hand, stepped forward and charged towards the Buddha. Bai Ditian was at the 10th level of the upper void stage. He was extremely powerful. In just an instant, he appeared in front of the Buddha. His hand formed a claw, and a white light flashed past. The Prophet Buddha's expression changed drastically as he took out his kasaya. However, in front of Bai Ditian, it was like an ordinary piece of cloth. Rip! The monastic robe was torn apart, and the claw light slashed across the chest of the Prophet Buddha. Ah! Prophet Buddha cried out in pain as Bai Ditian tore off a large piece of flesh from his chest. How is that possible? Let's attack together. Prophet Buddha exclaimed. The expressions of the 4 upper void stage martial artists also changed drastically, and they quickly charged over. Boom, boom, boom. Bai Ditian and Lu Jin fought against the 5 upper emptiness realm cultivators. For a moment, the battle was intense. Under the powerful collisions, a storm was created and rumbling sounds could be heard. Bai Ditian and Lu Jin were fiercely suppressing the 5 upper emptiness realm cultivators. On the other side, Yin Chuan charged towards Kong Mok. Around Yin Chuan, star-like energy balls revolve around Yin Chuan as they spun rapidly. They carried a powerful aura as they charged towards Kong Mok. Yin Chuan held the Emperor's sword in one hand and the Jade Dark sword in the other as he charged towards Kong Mok. Stars and sword auras surrounded him. This made Yin Chuan's aura even more ferocious. You want to kill me? I want to kill you too. Kong Mok, you asked for it. Die. Yin Chuan charged ferociously. Kong Mok's mouth was agape as he looked at this scene in shock. Impossible. Kong Mok couldn't believe this magical scene no matter what. Of course, Kong Mok couldn't just sit there and wait for death. He brandished his sword and clashed with Yin Chuan. Rumble, rumble. Ah, Bai Ditian killed 4th brother. 4th brother. Explosions rang out in the great formation where sand and pebbles flew about as the massacre continued. A group of upper void stage martial artists were fighting with all their might. Outside the array formation, Kong Mok's subordinates were working hard to stabilize the array formation. The array formation trembled. It seemed like it would collapse at any moment. One of Kong Mok's subordinates laughed and said, "Ha, His Majesty must be torturing Yin Chuan to death." That's right. Your Majesty is invincible. Right now, Yin Chuan must be helpless. The Immortal trapping array is already like this. The battle inside must be exciting. Ha ha ha. Chapter 991. Rumble. Dust rose around the fairy palace as sand and rocks flew everywhere. The battle between the upper void realm cultivators shook the Immortal trapping array. The officials of the Great Buddha Empire stabilized the Immortal trapping array and mourned for Yin Chuan. In everyone's eyes, Kong Mok was definitely the one who was trampling on Yin Chuan and the others. Everyone knew about Yin Chuan's information. Previously, in the Great Jun Empire, he had only relied on the Golden Dragon's providence. Everyone was only guessing how long Yin Chuan would last. 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours later, the officials of the Great Buddha Empire could no longer remain calm. Something's not right. Why is it taking so long? One of the officials frowned. Just as everyone was frowning, an angry roar came from the sea of fog. How dare you be so presumptuous in my archaic sect? His furious roar soared into the sky as he charged toward the fairy palace. Who? 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 In an instant, a large number of experts gathered from all directions. Not good. Your Majesty, quick! The people from the archaic sect are here. One of the officials shouted towards the array. At the same time, the various sect leaders who were invited rushed over after hearing the angry roar. Rumble! Countless cultivators rushed towards the fairy palace. Yin Ran became the center of attention in the fairy palace. Inside the immortal trapping array, 8 upper void realm cultivators were fighting fiercely. Lu Jin only cooperated with Yin Chuan and Bai Ditian. Most of them stayed out of the battle. The main reason was because Bai Ditian and Yin Chuan were strong. Bai Ditian tore an upper void realm cultivator apart. Yin Chuan also used his sword to kill an upper void realm cultivator. One sword pierced through the brain and the other through the heart. When the 2 swords clashed, the upper void realm cultivator was completely cut into pieces. The vine demon entangled an upper void realm cultivator, making him unable to move. The upper void realm cultivator struggled in fear. Boom! A large number of vines rushed towards the upper void realm cultivator, wanting to tear him into pieces. Only 3 people were left. Bai Ditian fought against 2 upper void realm cultivators. Yin Chuan, on the other hand, was fighting Kong Mok. Boom! 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 Yin Chuan's and Kong Mok's swords clashed, creating a huge impact. Lu Jin protected the others on the periphery. Impossible! How did you suddenly become so strong? Kong Mok exclaimed. Kong Moku was not an ordinary upper void stage cultivator, and he was a powerful cultivator at the 7th level of the upper void stage. However, he was actually unable to do anything to Yin Chuan. Furthermore, he was actually suppressed by Yin Chuan's ferocious might. That was impossible. How old was this bastard? When Yin Chuan's sword clashed with Yin Chuan's saber, Yin Chuan's expression became even more ferocious. Roar! Yin Chuan roared. The ball of light that seemed to revolve around Kong Mok's body crazily crashed into his energy shield. Boom! Like a meat grinder, it twisted Kong Mok's defense. Yin Chuan suppressed Kong Mok ruthlessly. Kong Moku, there's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. Today, you're the one who delivered yourself to me. Although I can't kill you in front of everyone, as long as I can avenge my parents, I won't hesitate to do anything. Rumble. The Heavenly Cycle Stellar Technique pressed down on Kong Mok's energy shield. Bastard! Bastard! Kong Mok roared unwillingly. Just as Kong Mok was struggling, a voice suddenly came from outside. Oh no! Your Majesty, quick! The Archaic Mysteries sect is here. The voice inside could not be heard, but the voice outside could be heard. Hearing the voice, Kong Mok's expression changed. Chapter 992. While he was distracted, one of the stars around Yin Chuan suddenly broke through his defense and appeared in front of Kong Mok. Smack! That star hit Kong Mok's face and made a crisp slap sound. A slap? Kong Mok's expression was extremely ugly. Your face is thicker than the city walls. My stars have shattered, but your face is still intact? Yin Chuan said in surprise. Bastard! Kong Mok was instantly enraged after being slapped in the face. And at this moment, above the immortal trapping array, suddenly, a huge white palm print descended from the sky. Boom! The huge palm slammed down, causing the entire sea of fog to boil. The Buddhist official looked at the sky with his mouth agape. Boom! The huge palm print pressed down on the immortal trapping array. Bam! The formation was crushed. More than 100 great Buddhist ministers who had been stabilizing the formation were sent flying backward by the countercurrent, each of them coughing up blood. Poof! Poof! Everyone fell to the ground. The array was broken. An immortal? Only an immortal can break it from the outside. Is this an immortal's attack? A cultivator on the ground exclaimed. Once the array was broken, a powerful force rushed inside the array. Boom! The people who were fighting inside were all pushed back by this powerful aura. They all tried to protect themselves, but they were all pushed back. Yin Xuan's eyes flashed with a strong sense of indignation. Bai Detian saw that he could kill another person, but he had no choice but to dodge. Boom! The Vine Demon also released an upper void realm cultivator and quickly surrounded the Heavenly Lady and Dongfang Zhengpai to prevent them from getting hurt. Whoosh! A strong wind blew past, blowing away the sand and dust. An elder in a white Taoist robe appeared above everyone. He held a horsetail whisk and looked down coldly. It was the Archaic Mysteries sect master, Yin Xin. Dozens of people quickly gathered behind Yin Xin, including Sima Yuntian, who Yin Xuan knew. He was the current Li Si. Li Si stood beside Meng Lingtian. He looked curiously at the scene in the west. There was another person beside him, Kong Daoqiu from the Confucius Lu Academy. He was also looking down with a frown. 2 dead and 3 injured. Apart from Kong Mok, who was in a slightly sorry state, everyone else had suffered a painful blow. More and more cultivators gathered from all directions, including the disciples of the Archaic Mysteries sect and the experts from all over the place. Yin Xin frowned and looked down coldly. Immortals? Yin Xin was actually an immortal? Yin Xuan stared at Yin Xin in surprise after putting the Vine Demon away. Goddess, are you all right? Yin Xin looked at Zhao Afong sternly. Zhao Afong shook his head. Yin Xin immediately looked at the wailing people on the ground. More than 100 people had been injured by his palm. Finally, he looked at Kong Mok. Yin Xin squinted her eyes. Just when she was about to ask, Kong Daoqiu called out first. Kong Mok, what are you doing? Do you know where this is? Kong Daoqiu scolded. Kong Daoqiu's rebuke made Yin Xin fall silent for a while. Kong Mo looked at Kong Daoqiu with an ugly expression, then looked at Yin Xuan's group with a gloomy face. Goddess, Sect Master Yin, I have offended you. Kong Mok sighed gently. Clearly, he could not kill Yin Xuan now. The great Buddha, Emperor? I want to know what's going on. Yin Xin said sternly. Kong Mok sucked in a deep breath and said, This is a personal grievance between me and Yin Xuan. I didn't want to alarm everyone. A personal grievance with Yin Xuan? Must you settle it in the Fairy Hall? Yin Xin said coldly. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.